Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Thursday, April 23rd, 2026. In about an hour, the Milwaukee Public Schools Superintendent, Dr. Brenda Caselius, will be in studio. Gonna enjoy my conversation with her because we obviously talk about education quite a bit. You know, we pay for it. It is an investment that we make in educating our young people and creating a future and a workforce for the city of Milwaukee and globally, because Milwaukee educated folks are all over the world. Obviously, there are some challenges with the district, and I'm looking forward to hearing some of the solutions to those challenges from the superintendent. So we'll be talking to her at 10 a.m. And along those lines, I don't know if anybody would disagree with the fact that we are taxed very heavily in the state of Wisconsin, in Milwaukee County, and even higher in the city of Milwaukee. However, this is a very expensive city to run and to manage. There's a tremendous amount of service that we need. I did read something this morning where the city is going to begin accelerating its lead water lateral replacement. They want to do 5,000 replacements this year. Nowhere near the total number that we need to replace, but at least they're chipping away at that astronomical number that at one point was closer to 70,000, because, you know, we want to have safe drinking water in the city of Milwaukee, and lead has got very negative effects on human health, so that's good. But that stuff costs money. I spoke too soon about the potholes. I posted something on social media earlier in the week saying, all you got to do is pay attention to the road and you won't hit a pothole. Not true. When I drive, I have to look directly in front of my vehicle more than I need to look out in front of the road ahead of me, because those potholes, and unfortunately the ones that I have encountered recently, because I took a different route this week. If you drive the same route every day, which I usually do, because I pretty much go to the same places Monday through Friday, a little bit of variation on the weekend, but during the week, same roads, same streets, same stoplights, same intersections, and I know where those potholes are, and it's easy for me to avoid them because that's the route that I take every day. Well, I had some errands I had to run this week, and I took a few little extra turns and went down different streets. Oh, it's worse than I thought. But filling those potholes costs money. You may see an incident that warrants a call to the police. Got to call 911, and we want the police to arrive as quickly as possible to arrest any suspects or perpetrators or begin their investigation of whatever that scenario is. Police officers cost money, and I know that we are already taxed very highly. But if our services can improve, now we also come up with different ideas of what we want the city to do. If I did a segment or two on what do we need to do to help the youth, you all would come up with some cliched, but in some cases, genius ideas of what the city itself can invest in. And remember, we are not separate from the city. We seem to think that, the city of Milwaukee needs to do this. And they can, but the money comes from us. Keeping in mind how much we are taxed right now, would you be okay with our taxes going up a little bit more, but then we get more investment in the things that can build our quality of life? Let's say we had street sweepers 4 days a week instead of a couple of times a month to keep the streets clean after we do our Earth Day cleanups and our Tory Low cleanups. And let's say we added another 10 or 15% to police officers in the city of Milwaukee so more can be on foot, more patrols, even more bicycle cops. Side note on bicycle cops. Why are their shorts so short? You ever seen how they're like Daisy Dukes? I never understood that. Do you guys remember in the 1980s, the NBA shorts? You could almost see a little bit of cheek. Not a lot of cheek, just a little bit of cheek. A little bit. They're very short shorts back in the NBA in the 1980s. Why do police officers have booty shorts on? But whatever, we need more of them, booty shorts or not. Would you be okay with, because our problems are rising in the city of Milwaukee, or at least it seems that way or it feels that way. But at the same time, our population is shrinking. There's not really a lot of inflow of population. You got to keep this in mind. If more people are not coming, we also have a housing shortage here too. I don't know what the hell we're going to do about that. The mayor of the city of Milwaukee wants to grow the city to 1 million people. That's ambitious. A lofty goal, to say the least. But if we got more people here, that's more people shopping, more people spending, more tax revenue that we would get. We could probably lower our tax rate if we had more people. But people are leaving the city for a lot of reasons, and maybe because if you want to start a family, you look at our public education system, and you very well may say no thanks. You might select Shorewood or Whitefish Bay, Bayside, Fox Point, maybe even Glendale, instead of the city of Milwaukee. So we're losing people, and if you lose people, you're losing tax revenue and you're losing property taxes. So of all of the things that we complain about, and there are many, it can be crime, it can be the infrastructure, which is the potholes and the lead water laterals, and we need more police officers. Oh, I had to call the fire department yesterday. They came fast. I was so impressed with the speed in which they came. I'm going to tell you about that in just a second. There was a car on fire in front of my house. Now, this also should be noted. I've been in my house since 2004. There have been yesterday was the third fire in those 22 years, with two of those fires being my neighbor directly behind me. Their house has caught on fire twice. I don't even talk to them no more because I'm scared of them. It's a man. He has children, and his children are with him most of the time. And then he's been in like different relationships because I see the guy. He's outside cutting the grass. I'm outside maybe doing things in the yard or in the driveway. And I see the fella and I speak to him. He's been there damn near as long as me. This man's house was caught on fire twice. The second fire, probably 2016, 2017, made me panic more than the first one. The first one, I just saw a bunch of smoke. The second fire, there were embers flying. I got a wooden fence. Hey, guess what? When a house is on fire, a wooden fence don't help you. And I just saw the embers flying over my fence and landing on my garage. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to die today. But last night was the third fire. Is somebody trying to tell me something? The fact that I've experienced 3 fires, and most people experience 0 fires. That's probably the lifetime average for most people, unless it's a campfire or unless you're a firebug. I've experienced 3 fires. Is God saying, hey, Sherwin, these hellfires are getting closer and closer to you because you don't support my religious doctrine? I'm not entirely sure, but I do know this. The fire department came very quickly, and we want them to come very quickly. Sometimes the police can take their time. A fire department cannot. So our YouTube question for the day is, and I do know that we are taxed very, very highly, more so in the city of Milwaukee. In fact, the city of Milwaukee has got to have the highest tax rate in the state because our most recent referendum, which goes back to 2023, 2024, increased the sales tax countywide 0.2%, and in the city a full 2%. I noticed the difference. If I go, because I live a stone's throw away from the Wauwatosa, I noticed the difference when I purchase taxable items in Wauwatosa versus when I buy taxable items in the city of Milwaukee. I legitimately noticed the difference. It is 2 full percentage points. It is more expensive to buy things in the city in which I live than to purchase things and have my economic activity outside of the city, which is problematic in itself because there's a name for that. It's called retail leakage. Some of our zip codes, especially the majority African-American ones, have a retail leakage that's something like 68 to 80%. That means that 68 to 80% of the income that people make in majority African-American zip codes gets spent somewhere else. And it could be because of the dearth of black businesses that exist, or don't exist, rather, in the categories in which African-Americans do the majority of their consumer spending. We have a lot of barbecue joints, a lot of them. A lot of black-owned soul food restaurants. It's a new soul food restaurant popping up every day. In fact, on 76 in Burleigh, that used to be a Pizza Hut. Worst Pizza Hut ever. The Pizza Hut on 76 in Burleigh, it's closed now. It's a soul food restaurant, to give you an example of how if something closes, like, I think it's called Julie Mays, Jenny Mays, something. Some of y'all have been there before. I've seen the food reviews. They don't appear to be very consistent. That Pizza Hut, though, was so bad. You could place an order for your pizza at that Pizza Hut and you'd end up getting Domino's. It was just very bad. I had burnt pizza. I've never seen a corporate pizza chain burn pizza before, but whatever. So the retail leakage is problematic because if more of that money was spent in the city of Milwaukee, we would have more revenue to support better services. So that's the YouTube question of the day. Would you support yet another tax increase? Because guess what? I think one is coming. I'm going to ask Superintendent what her plans are for a new referendum because I don't blame the district for asking for more money if we're willing to give it. Now, what our return on these investments, because taxes are supposed to be investments, what our return will be, who knows? Maybe we get no return whatsoever, but would you be willing? Just trying to test the willingness of the overtaxed Milwaukee public. Would you be willing to pay a little bit more to have more firefighters, more police, get the potholes filled faster to keep the streets clean? There are some services that I think we, as City of Milwaukee residents, can provide. I think there's some things that we can do, let's say, to keep our neighborhoods clean and to keep the sewer grates free of debris. But a lot of folks don't want to do that because, too much work. And then we have flooding, which is going to be a lot more of this summer. I am sure of it. We haven't even gotten into the real crux of the severe weather season. I think all of that is coming. But for the things that people won't do, neighbors can work together and band together and do a much better job of reporting crime because then that helps solve these crimes when neighbors are communicative and collaborative, and that may lessen the amount of police response that we need because if would-be criminals know that a particular block or street is very active and very engaged and people are paying attention and they're noting suspicious vehicles. The car that started on fire directly in front of my house. They didn't live on my block. I know every car on my block. I see every car. It was a Volkswagen Jetta. Don't nobody on my street own no damn Volkswagen. I think it was an arson because there was a small crowd that formed and there was a woman, I don't want to be stereotypical, but she was wearing pajama pants and a bonnet. But to her credit, it was 8 o'clock at night. And she was probably in the house. I've never seen her before. She was visiting somebody. And she's screaming, who in the hell did this to my car? It's not like she was driving the vehicle. Oh, no, my car is on fire. Let me park it and get out of it. She was in someone's house, came out to see her vehicle on fire. So why don't I do this? I'm going to take a break. Explain to you how I discovered that there was a car fire directly in front of my house. I recorded it. I got the video. The video cuts off right when the fire department gets there. Then I started a second video. So when I found out that there was a fire, I said, I got to record this. Kind of stupid because I should have stayed in the house. But by the time the 4 minutes of the first recording expired, the fire department was already there. That ain't bad. That's not too shabby. So let me take this little break, come back and tell you how I discovered a Volkswagen Jetta on fire. It was an engine fire, which spread to the whole vehicle. I'll let you know the details of that on the other side. You were listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com. Truth Nation is the best fan base in the country.
I won tickets last week on your show to see The Wiz. I just wanted to call and say thank you and say I appreciate you. I appreciate the show. I appreciate the station. That was a core memory that was made last night. The Wiz was an amazing performance.
We want you to tap into the talk and text line every show, every day at 833-212-1017. Milwaukee Black Talk, 101.7 The Truth.
You're a hard worker. Provide for your family and help out in your community. You've been there for so many others. But when life challenges you, when rising costs, unexpected repairs, medical bills, or simply a rough stretch make it hard to keep up on a limited or low income. You're not alone. Your local Wisconsin energy and emergency assistance providers are here for you, working together to keep you safely in your home and your heat and power on. If you're struggling with high utility bills, facing a disconnect notice, or dealing with a furnace emergency and your limited or low income isn't enough, support is available. Visit www.heat.help or call 1-800-506-5596 to apply for a hand up.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
So I'm sitting in the living room watching the television, minding my own, and I hear what I can only describe as a very loud pop. It was an explosion, but that's not what I thought it was when I initially heard that sound. Here's what immediately came to mind, and maybe I'm conditioned. I might have PTSD. So I hear this loud pop, which was an explosion, and I'm like, oh, the YNs are at it again. So instead of doing what a normal person does, you get away from the windows, because if you hear that sound, that means that it's probably a gunshot. But then I realized gunshots rarely, if ever, come in ones. So I was like, well, let me grab my cell phone and make my way toward the nearest window, which is stupid. You're not supposed to do that when you hear what potentially could be a gunshot. And I look out my glass window. I have a glass window insert on my front door, and I just see an absolute ball of flames coming from the engine compartment of a black Volkswagen Jetta. And I'm beginning to record this fire. And there's a small crowd that had gathered across the street, and there's commotion and yelling and screaming. So I didn't know any details prior to. I just heard the pop, heard the explosion. And that was the car tires exploding. So if you've ever seen a car fire before, and I've actually seen quite a few, you will hear, it'll scare you, because it's not like the movies where, oh, these cars blow up. That's so rare. Very, very rare. There are safety measures in vehicles where the car exploding or the gas tank exploding is exceptionally rare. Still, if you see a car that's on fire, by all means get away from it, but they don't explode like they do in the movies. And so there's a small crowd that gathered across the street, and I was just noticing my neighbors. So my neighbor who lives across the street, kind of kitty corner, I see him mosey on out of his house. He's walking all slow. There's literally a car on fire on my street. He just kind of moseys over. He gets in his vehicle. He has a red Chevy Equinox, and he just kind of moseys, and he just moves his car just slightly out of the way of the burning vehicle. And so as I'm recording all this, and so for the people that asked me and posted the comments on the recording of the fire asking me if I was fully dressed, don't worry about that. If there's a car on fire in front of my house and I want to record it, my clothing does not matter. Keep in mind, I'm at home, and I never left my property. Is it legal to stand on your porch partially dressed? Neither here nor there. Now the fire is spreading to the interior. And thankfully, after probably maybe 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, I hear the fire engine in the distance. And that's a really, really short time frame. So I called 911. Let me also tell you that part. I called 911 and said, hey, there's a car fire. They wanted the address. I gave them my address. The lady said, fire department is on the way. It was a really, really quick 911 call. Probably 2 or so minutes into the recording, I hear the fire truck, in the distance. At this time, the fire is now spreading to the interior of the vehicle. And it was a woman who was yelling and screaming, who wanted to know who did that to her car. I'm starting to think it was an arson. But as I'm recording, I was like, wait a minute. There's a tree, a really, really big tree. I only have one tree in my yard. For those of you that live in the city of Milwaukee, we don't have a lot of foliage in our yards, but I have one really gigantic tree in front of my house. I love my tree. My tree provides shade. It provides a park-like atmosphere for my very central city urban house. And it also, the shade the trees provide actually keeps my house a little bit cooler in the summertime. The car is directly in front of my tree. And I'm like, uh-oh. Because if my tree starts on fire, because the branches they tower over my roof. And, trees are made out of wood. When you go camping, like the whites do, you use wood for your fire. And I was like, please don't let my tree start on fire. I like my tree. And actually, I'm such an idiot because I should have been more concerned about the loss of somebody's property. We didn't know. The 911 operator said, oh, by the way, sir, is there someone in the car? I was like, oh, I never even thought about that. I don't think there was, but I wasn't going to go check. I'm no hero. I'm just here to record. We don't believe there was anybody in the car. The fire is growing. As the fire is growing, the flames are getting closer to the only tree in my front yard. Now I'm panicking because if that tree starts on fire, my house is likely going to go with it. So as the fire is growing, it's getting bigger. I can feel the heat from inside of I'm standing inside of my house and I'm recording through my glass storm door. I can feel the heat from the fire. As the fire is growing, getting closer to the tree, the fire engine siren is getting louder and louder and louder. Finally, I see the red flashing lights. The heroes show up. I love firefighters. They saved my life here in the studio. I had a bit of an incident where I fainted on air last fall. They're so well built, a bunch of hunks. When I passed out in the studio and I woke up, I saw like 4 or 5 very hunky white guys. Why were their T-shirts so tight?
You sounded like Donald Trump.
I don't know. I woke up and I saw these white guys working on me like, oh, Sherwin, stay with us, Sherwin, stay. Because they didn't know if I was dying or not. And I woke up and I was like, damn, I died and went to gay heaven. Like, oh, man. And then I'm thinking to myself, might as well make the best of it, But I wasn't dying, so that was perfectly fine. So the heroes show up, and I'm expecting them to be running. There's a fire, we gotta run. I'm expecting like bells to be ringing. They just hopped off the truck. And now remember, this fire is large. The interior of this vehicle it's engulfed at this point. And so they hop off. A couple of them are standing on the other side of the road. Then they pull the long hose. I'm like, okay, they're pulling the hose out, and they have the hose near the vehicle bump. There's no water running yet. There was another almost like 30 seconds before the water filled the hose. But here's what was very satisfying about the situation. Once the water started coming out of the hose, the fire was out in 4 seconds. And I mean, they doused that vehicle. And now the woman across the street is screaming even more because she saw that clearly her vehicle is total. But I think when she saw the amount of water and the pressure and the force of the water that was used to put out that fire, then she really had it. She's like, oh no, my car. I'm thinking to myself, ma'am, it was just on fire. The water damage is not going to make things any worse. Then something really unusual happened. I think at this time, I had stopped recording, and now I'm just witnessing it. They have a crowbar, and they're trying to open the trunk. And they can't open the trunk with the crowbar. And there's one of the firefighters is working very diligently to try and open that trunk with the crowbar. And then they get the Sawzall. They get a saw, a metal saw. Now, the fire is out. My tree is saved. Sherwin's house didn't burn down. Sherwin clearly is okay. However, I did something stupid. So, fires mean smoke, and the smell of burnt rubber and plastic is unmistakable. While all this is going on, there was a dramatic shift of the wind and a gigantic cloud of smoke that you could imagine with this car fire. Now the fire is out. There's nothing but smoke and steam rising in the air. There was a change of wind direction, and the entire cloud of smoke went into my house. Even this morning, my house still smells like burnt rubber and plastic. So that wasn't the smartest thing ever. So they have this gigantic saw, and I see the sparks because they're cutting open the trunk of the car, which why they did that, I have no idea. Now, the fire is completely out, but they spent more time cutting the deck lid off of this black Volkswagen Jetta than they actually did putting out the fire. The fire was out in 4 seconds. Once they put that hose on it, I could see how hoses were really effective against black civil rights protesters. That's a lot of water. And I wouldn't want to be hit with that. Once you see the force of the water right in front of you, it's pretty significant. And so I didn't ask any questions, obviously, because literally what is happening is none of my business. But I'm assuming they might be checking for people in the trunk of the vehicle. And so they finally saw through the metal trunk lid of this black Volkswagen Jetta, and they're like searching the vehicle. They're like rummaging through it. And I'm hoping this woman ain't have no dope or no dead bodies or nothing in the trunk of her car because she was going to get caught. So, tragedy averted. No one was hurt. But now I'm dealing with a burned out, totaled vehicle in front of my house. Ladies and gentlemen, if you listen to my program with any kind of frequency, you know that I hate litter and I hate trash. And when I find litter and trash in my front yard, I get really, really angry because it's just pure disrespect. It is. Now I'm dealing with a total vehicle. And because I know the city of Milwaukee so well, I'm thinking to myself, that car is likely going to be in front of my house for days, maybe even weeks. And I'm thinking of all the people that I need to call. I got to call my alderwoman. I got to call the Department of Public Works, et cetera, et cetera. I woke up this morning and the vehicle was gone. Well, actually, like you all right? You good?
I'm good. I'm just listening to your riveting story.
No, I'm very traumatized from somebody else's car starting on fire in front of my house where my only tree was threatened. Therefore, my house was threatened as well. But shout out to the fire department. They came very quickly. I've had to call the police before a couple of times since I've lived at my address, and the police kind of get there when they want to. Hi, 911, what's your emergency? Come quickly! There's an emergency. I need the police to come. All right, what's your address? My address is... State's address. All right, we're going to get a squad over there. And they mumble some stuff you can't hear. I've already sent the call to dispatch, and we're going to get a squad over there pretty soon.
What kind of emergencies did you have at your house?
You name it. Shootings. There's a shooting in 2006 where, so it's 3 guys, black Chevy Tahoe pulls up. I'm either outside or looking out the window or something, so the Tahoe pulls up, shooting at the 3 guys that are on the other side of a gold-colored Buick Park Avenue. One of the guys gets shot. The 2 guys carry the man that got shot and laid him in my neighbor's yard. So I'm watching this whole thing, and they left him in my neighbor's yard, my next door neighbor's yard. Then those 2 guys that carried that fellow and placed him, he wasn't dead. Found out he got shot in the ass, and he was also 17. They then hop in the vehicle and chased after the Tahoe that did the shooting. And so that was certainly a 911 call. I was outside for the entire thing. In fact, my homegirl used to live down the street from me. I called. I was like, yo, you got to come over here and see this. Because they taped off my entire block, but she was able to park around the corner and walk through a couple yards to get to my house. So when the police finally showed up, and he was yelling and screaming, the guy that got shot, I was like, oh, he's not dead, but I'm not going over there. I'm never going to forget this. When the police pulled up, the first thing they do is they get out of the vehicle. They drove 2 cops. They draw their guns on the guy that got shot, and are screaming at him, "Who shot you, MFer? Who shot you? Who shot you?" I'm thinking to myself, this is not protocol, is it? They were literally screaming at the person that got shot. So I followed the case. They took him to the hospital. He was 17, I come to find out, because there was a news story about it. He survived. He was wanted for felony murder. So him getting shot led to his arrest and conviction. And that makes me think that scenario was retaliatory. So there you go. My block be hot sometimes, you know what I'm saying?
It sounds like you live in the trenches.
Kinda. Milwaukee will fool you, because you'll also have an incident like that happening on Brady Street, the Upper East Side by UWM. No part of Milwaukee is safe from little random acts of violence. All right, let me take a break, come back. Speaking of acts of violence, and I heard my colleagues Homer and Bailey Coleman talking about this Trevor Lawston, who gets 5.5 years for killing 3 members of the same family. Like, that sentencing just seems incredibly light. I want to talk about that and try and provide, now it's not going to satisfy anybody, but provide some kind of explanation how in the hell something like that is even possible. And also Brenda Cassellius, Dr. Brenda Cassellius, the superintendent of the Milwaukee Public Schools, is going to be here at 10 o'clock. We're going to chat with her in a little while. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hi, I'm attorney David Gruber. After an accident, you need a trusted winning team on your side. For more than 30 years, Gruber Law Offices has helped Wisconsin families get the results they deserve. If you've been injured, call our firm today for a free consultation. We're available 24/7. Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices, proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
Want to protect our planet? The air we breathe, water we drink, and land we share? Real progress begins with birds. Yes, birds. The very ones we see and hear every day. On a walk, in the park, or simply out the window. That's because birds are more than birds. They're symbols, sentinels that reveal the health of our planet and our people. And by helping them thrive, all of us thrive as well. Audubon is a place where birds matter, where habitats are protected, where communities are engaged, and where change takes flight. Because at Audubon, hope begins with birds. Progress begins with birds. It all begins with birds. Audubon.
When I was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma, I had so many questions. I didn't even know that it was cancer. Now I do. It is cancer. Blood cancer. It's actually one of more than 100 different types, and they're all treated differently. Now, unlike some other forms of cancer, usually there's no tumor. You can't screen for it to prevent it, and the symptoms can look like other things, so it could be hard to diagnose. I had a fever for weeks. I was so tired all the time. I didn't feel like eating or doing anything else for that matter. And I know that this can feel scary. But if you know what to look out for, you'll know what to tell your doctor. And you'll feel more empowered to take the next steps. Like getting in touch with the people who know the ins and outs and can help with everything blood cancer related. Blood Cancer United. They work one-on-one with each person who reaches out to answer questions and offer resources. Blood Cancer United was there for me, and they can be there for you.
Go to bloodcancerunited.org to learn more.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
My mother told me a story a long time ago, and it was shocking, and it stuck with me. There was a scenario in rural Mississippi many, many years ago where a grandfather shot a young male suitor in his chest with a shotgun. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what a shotgun, especially one loaded with double-aught buckshot, can do to a human body. Pistols are essentially designed to stop someone. Rifles are designed for the bullet, the projectile, to go through someone. A shotgun removes a chunk of a human being. So this grandfather, unhappy that this boy is vigorously and intimately pursuing his granddaughter, shoots this boy in the chest, and clearly the boy was killed. The grandfather got 2 years in prison. None of that made sense to me because that's homicide. That's the first degree flavor of homicide. That gets you a lot of time in jail. And I had inquired of my mother, why didn't he get more time in jail? You got to remember, during Jim Crow, a couple of things were very unique to that era. Not just the segregation of public accommodations and you had to sit in the back of the bus, or if a white person wanted your seat. Kind of like Palestine. If you were seated as a black person on a bus and a white person wanted your seat, you had to get up or you would face arrest. And, you know, we had separate bathrooms, and of course we had segregated schools, etc. But it also impacted and bled into the criminal justice system. Most white people could kill somebody black with impunity because also during that time, black people could not be impaneled on a jury. That's very, very important. Very few, if any, during the era of Jim Crow, I'm talking about 100 years now, where all white juries were impaneled, did they ever convict someone white of killing somebody black. It happened, but it was extraordinarily rare. It was so rare you can say that it was an anomaly. But when a black person killed another black person during the Jim Crow South, judges and the latitude they have in sentencing, the discretion that they have, and then whatever state law was, because who knows what Mississippi state law was in the 1950s and 60s, that basically is black people doing the work on behalf of white racism in the Jim Crow South. So if you were black and you killed somebody black, well, we don't need to send this boy to jail for a long time. He's doing our bidding for us. There's a phenomenon that exists, and I don't know how aware of this phenomenon we are, and it's basically called the race of the defendant. And it's a paradigm where you look at the race of the perpetrator and then the race of the victim. When minorities kill other minorities, and there's a gender dynamic as well, and I got some details I want to share with you because maybe it helps to better explain something that may have defied our comprehension and understanding when you look at this situation where Trevor Lawson, a man charged in a reckless driving crash that killed a mother and her 2 sons, was sentenced to 5.5 years behind bars. Now, the family was mung. This dude is a felon with a gun, and if I'm not mistaken, he's wanted on other charges in the state of Indiana. So dude is a fugitive from justice, felon with a gun, involved in vehicular homicide that kills 3 people, and he gets 5.5 years in jail. I don't know the details of like all of the factors that went into that. I don't know what the judge was looking at. I don't know if the judge is saying, okay, well, you're going to do these 5.5 years here, but then you're also going to be extradited to Indiana. I don't know all of the details. I just know that this sounds very much like a phenomenon that I had been made aware of as a little kid. When black people kill other black, and in this case, brown people, the sentences aren't that harsh. because you are saving them from having to get their hands dirty. Because, now when they kill us, you know who I'm talking about when I say them. Now they really do go to jail. But if we are killing each other or we're killing other minorities, that's not looked at as harsh. Now, there are some perpetrator-victim combinations where you are guaranteed, and this is nationwide, to get the most maximum sentence. And I'm going to talk about those scenarios on the other side, but also keep in mind, do you know how long we as a community, we lobbied the wrong way? Who is the black community's PR firm? Because we need to fire them. We need a better PR firm. No, we do. Who was doing PR for us? We complained about long prison sentences being too harsh on African Americans, and we noted the disparities in incarceration and confinement. And we got really mad at the 1994 crime bill, which black people wanted. And we're like, these long sentences are racist. Truth in sentencing is racist. But then when we come to find out a black person kills 3 people and they get a short sentence, didn't we want shorter sentences? Didn't we want truth in sentencing to go away? Didn't we say that the whole criminal justice system needed to be indicted itself because of how harsh they are on black people? So when a black person kills another black person or kills another brown person, they get a light sentence. Ain't that what you wanted? You mean to tell me you didn't yell and scream from the top of the mountain that, oh, these sentencing disparities are racist? Why do black men get so much time in prison when they commit egregious, horrendous homicidal offenses? Why do they get so much time? Judges and state laws, oh, you want us to let them out? You want us to give them a light sentence? By all means. Let's take a break. Come back. Talk about sentencing reality and why what happened in this particular case, without me having every single granular detail. I don't have the minutia, but it fits into a pattern of when somebody brown kills somebody brown. Oh, you don't got to give them a lot of time because you're doing society a great service. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I travel all around the world, Dr. Ken, and when I tell you, based on my experiences, this is like the #1 country that cares. Like, everything is about money. Yep. Everything.
This is The Truth Unfiltered with Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
I've told people in the past, you have to be careful of what you complain about and what you use as a tool, because other people will take it and use it in the wrong way.
Sundays starting at 7 on 620 WTMJ and Mondays at 6 on 1017 The Truth.
Hi, this is Sherwin Hughes from 1017 The Truth, and I want to talk to you about something bigger than just buying a house. I'm talking about building a legacy. Owning a home isn't just about 4 walls and a roof. It's about giving your kids a place where memories are made, where birthdays are celebrated, and where they always belong. It's about planting roots, knowing your neighbors, waving from the porch, and being a part of a community that feels like family. If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to work with you. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, a budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying less than they were paying for rent. Don't let where you are today stop your family's tomorrow. Start your journey at axehousing.org. That is ACTShousing.org. Your legacy begins at home.
Need a quick, delicious way to fuel your day? Try one of our new protein power plays from Cousin Subs. Power ham, power turkey, power club, power tuna. 4 craveable 5-inch subs on freshly baked Italian bread. Packed with protein, up to 33 grams. All for just $7.99 for a limited time. It's the flavor you love with the fuel you need. Grab a protein power play in store, online, or on the Cousin Subs app today. Cousin Subs, we believe in better.
Our children deserve a real chance to make it in life, and a good education is a passport to opportunity. At City Ford Collective, we're working to make sure there's a great Milwaukee school for every Milwaukee family, because more good options lead to better outcomes. And who doesn't want that? Together, we can give every child the foundation they need to thrive, and a stronger future for kids means a stronger future for Milwaukee. To learn more about our mission, visit us at cityfordcollective.org. That's cityfordcollective.org.
Truth Nation, join the Milwaukee County Office of Equity on Saturday, April 25th at 10 a.m. for the Story of Wealth exhibition at the Wisconsin Black Historical Society. Discover how policies have shaped financial opportunities in Milwaukee and learn how we can break down barriers to success. Hear from a panel including keynote speaker James J.B. Bell. This event is free to attend with food provided, door prizes, and great music, so make sure you get there early.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Measurable sentencing disparities have been documented in the United States, but it's not in a simple way, the way people may think of it or the way they frame it. The strongest and most consistent findings are minority defendants, especially black defendants, often receive longer sentences than similarly situated white defendants. So I'm going to pause there and just give a little clarification here. Judges have this thing called discretion. State law says if somebody commits a certain offense, some offenses, the judges have no discretion, zero. But what the state law often provides for a particular category of offenses is a maximum. And in a lot of the cases, the judge can take into account, doesn't mean they will, they can take into account the upbringing of the defendant, the poverty level, their level of education. Did they have housing insecurity? Were they unemployed? Is there a history of mental illness, emotional abuse, and neglect? Judges can take all of those things into effect. You ever wonder why some lawyers are so expensive? Some defense attorneys are expensive and some are free. The ones that are expensive will go above and beyond in painting a much more sympathetic picture of the client that they are defending. A good defense attorney will say, "Judge, my client was abandoned on the side of the road. They had to scavenge for food. They were raised by wolves. They were rejected by society. They only have a first grade reading level. The system has turned its back on my client, and my client needs leniency." That doesn't mean it's going to change a judge's mind, but a good defense attorney will essentially paint a dramatic and theatrical picture for the jury and for that judge. But in some cases, the judges have no discretion. Child support. You're paying 17% no matter what the situation is, no matter what the baby mama did, no matter if it was marriage or divorce, 17% judges have no discretion. There's not a judge in the state of Wisconsin that can say, "Oh, you only pay 0.2% of your income for child support." So in some cases, there's no discretion. But the reason why we have state laws is because we elect state lawmakers. So when we have elections for members of the Wisconsin State Senate and the State Assembly, now, depending upon when in the political climate, our voter turnout as African Americans tends to be low. Those are the lawmakers that create the laws that judges go by. That's number one. Number two, we're very, very lucky in Wisconsin. We get to vote for all of our circuit court judges. In most places, judges are appointed. And if you have a Republican governor, they're going to appoint the most strict, conservative, constitutionally rigid judges you could ever imagine, who are always tough on crime. And because there's something built into the sauce of the modern Republican, you sentence poor people and minorities even harsher. But we get to vote for our judges. And also, our voter turnout, and I'm not over here trying to push y'all to go and vote because it's just like putting an alarm clock in a cemetery. Some of y'all ain't never going to wake up. But these are the outputs and the results of our lack of voter turnout. The majority of the judges that are on the Milwaukee County Circuit Court don't live in the city of Milwaukee. They live in the suburbs. The majority of the defendants that they sentence are from the city of Milwaukee. And so if those judges who live in suburban enclaves sentence Milwaukee individuals to light sentences, the community that those defendants return to are not those judges' communities. Because we don't have enough candidates, quite honestly, for judge that are from the city of Milwaukee that better understand that the sentence you give someone has a direct impact on public safety. Let's grab a telephone call from David. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
What up, Sherwin? How you doing, bro? I ain't talked to you in a while.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. So, unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, I've been to the joint and all that stuff, so I know this world, so I had to call in. You know what I mean? Just so I could shed some true light on it. Everything you're touching on is accurate, you know what I mean? But, like, I can just give people, like, some real insight on it. So no matter what side of the fence you're on, like if you're a lock 'em up, you know, and all that type of stuff, or if you're, like, a little more, you know, empathetic about people going to the joint and all that, it don't really matter what side you're on. But here's what's going on. So it's a lot of why people are actually in prison, right? You got people in there that are committing crimes just straight up, right? They're going to prison. Keep in mind, you got 72 counties in the state. So people are going to prison in every county every day, no matter if it's a few or a lot. So you got more people going into prison every single day than are actually getting released. People that get out the joint, it's only one day a week that it's release day. I believe it was Tuesday or whatever. You know what I mean? And then you throw on top of that the truth in sentencing. People are in there for longer times. And then you throw on top of that, you have people in there that are for breaking rules, not laws. So they're getting sent back to the joint. You get a year and a day, you're going back to prison. It's going to be a minimum because it's a small amount of time. But all of that adds into the overcrowding. That's why they were sending people out of state, 98, Texas, Oklahoma. I was in the hole at RCI when they sent the first batch out in the middle of the night. That's how you know it was over. Here's another example. I got to go. My break's over in 2 minutes. In 1993, the first time I went to the county jail in Milwaukee, right, they were just closing up the old jail, the old city jail. And they had put us in the new one, right, the Milwaukee County Jail, just open. They threw us in the unit, right? They ain't even had no doors on the cells, but they still put us in them rooms. That lets you know it was overcrowded back then. MSDF, that's actually a prison. A lot of people think that's a jail because it's downtown. That's a prison. That if you mess up, you're out here on paper and you mess up, that's where you go. But you go to the county jail first. You're going to sit there, and then they're going to send you over to MSDF. You know what I mean? So all of that is clogging the prison system up. That's why in the ripple effect is the 5.5 year sentence you see for a boy. That's why it was so light. Where are you going to put everybody? So if you're someone that's lock them up, well, then you got to be for them putting some prisons up real quick because there ain't no room for nobody.
David, we got to leave it there because I got to take a break and you got to get back to work. But I appreciate your call.
I do.
All right. Thank you, David. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Milwaukee business owners, this is your moment. Every Friday at 8 a.m., call in to 101.7 The Truth for What the Business Is. Tell us what your business is, where you're located, and one thing you've learned along the way. What the Business is powered by We Energies, delivering the energy that powers local business. Fridays at 8 a.m. on 101.7 The Truth. Fridays at 8 a.m. on 101.7 The Truth.
May is Skilled Trades Month, a time to celebrate the hands-on careers that keep our industries and our communities moving forward. At Junior Achievement, students are discovering that today's skilled trades include technology, robotics, and smart manufacturing. With support from Rockwell Automation, students are exploring how advanced manufacturing and automation will power the factories of the future. Thank you, Rockwell, for helping inspire the next generation of technicians, engineers, and innovators. Learn more at ja.org.
70 million people in the U.S. have learning and thinking differences, like ADHD and dyslexia. Each has their own story. This is ours. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Then schoolwork became a struggle. Emotions got bigger, and my kids started falling behind. I felt alone. like I was lost in the dark trying to find answers. Then I learned about Understood.org, a nonprofit empowering parents and kids like us. It was like we had a light to show us the path ahead. Whenever new challenges came up, their guidance helped us figure out our next step. We still have tough days, but now we have direction. And I have the tools and resources I need to help my child thrive. No matter where you are on the path, Understood can help you keep moving forward. Visit understood.org/yourpath today.
Many of our most important memories are made at school. But for children like Victoria, the classroom can be a place of fear and isolation. She wore a bandage over her cleft every day, too shy to speak, too afraid to smile. Everything changed after one life-transforming surgery made possible by Smile Train. Today, Victoria's smile lights up her classroom, a symbol of confidence, connection, and new beginnings. Due to stigma, children with untreated clefts often miss out on school entirely. But thanks to Smile Train, students like Victoria are stepping into the classroom, raising their hands, and finding their voice. Smile Train partners with local experts to support with free cleft surgeries and other comprehensive care, empowering children to thrive in school and in life. Let's help every child walk into the classroom with confidence. Visit smiletrain.org/learn.
Truth Nation, stand up and tap in. This is 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
While the superintendent makes her way down to our studios, we're going to pick up where we left off during hour one. There's a bias that exists in our criminal justice system. And now it's hard to tell if the bias that exists is because we have long called for reductions in sentencing, because since the 1994 crime bill, we know how African-American men in particular, because they are much more likely to be confined and for longer periods of time, how it destroys families, neighborhoods, communities, etc. And so we look at the racism that we know is inherent in the United States, and we attack the criminal justice system by saying, you know what, you're giving black men too long of sentences. There's a disparity in sentencing between, let's say, crack cocaine and powder cocaine, or if there's a white defendant who can afford a very expensive lawyer, sometimes they get let go. You ever wonder why people cheered when OJ was found not guilty the first time? It wasn't because anybody was happy that he killed two people. That wasn't it. I was in a real dangerous place when that verdict was read. I was going to UW Oshkosh, and I was living in the dorms, and I was surrounded by disappointed white people. Every single person on my dorm floor had their television tuned to the reading of that verdict. It was a cultural inflection point. It was myself and one other African American that lived on our floor. It was like 70 people that lived on the floor of our dorm. Me and one other black guy, and his nickname was Fudge. It was me and Fudge. Fudge had an afro. Big one. And you could hear it in stereophonic sound. We, the jury, find the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty. The collective sigh and moan that Fudge and I heard from our college colleagues was tangible. Okay? We were happy because finally the African American community that had been sentenced for longer could now defeat that system if you just had enough money. Now, here's the problem. Now you got to be a football hero and have a bunch of movie and television show accolades and have millions and millions of dollars. But if you can reach that, well, then you can get let off for murder. Here's what we're going to do. The superintendent is here. We're going to take a little break. Right? We're going to get her all situated and settled in, and we're going to come back and talk to the superintendent of Milwaukee Public Schools, Dr. Brenda Caselli. It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, it's your boy Tory Lowe, and I need to let you know the award-winning Tory Lowe Show can now be streamed live on YouTube every day from 1 to 4. Truth Nation, I am now bringing all the smoke on YouTube every single weekday. Hey, I need you to go to YouTube right now and subscribe to 1017 The Truth and check out the award-winning Tory Lowe Show live every afternoon. Milwaukee Black Talk is now streaming live on YouTube. Now that's powerful.
Hi, this is Sherwin Hughes from 1017 The Truth, and I want to talk to you about something bigger than just buying a house. I'm talking about building a legacy. Owning a home isn't just about four walls and a roof. It's about giving your kids a place where memories are made, where birthdays are celebrated, and where they always belong. It's about planting roots, knowing your neighbors, waving from the porch, and being a part of a community that feels like family. If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to work with you. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, a budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying less than they were paying for rent. Don't let where you are today stop your families tomorrow. Start your journey at axehousing.org. That is ACTShousing.org. Your legacy begins at home.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Bikers need protection, not just from other drivers, but unfortunately from insurance companies too. If you've been injured in a motorcycle crash, call Gruber Law Offices today. Bikers are often blamed for causing the accident because the insurance companies simply don't want to pay. At Gruber Law Offices, we've been fighting for injured bikers and their families for more than 30 years. Trust us to fight for what you deserve. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Hi, I'm Greg Fritsch, president of the Center for Veterans Issues, inviting you to get involved in supporting the CVI mission. The Center for Veterans Issues is proud to serve veterans across Wisconsin. Each year, we help more than 1,200 veterans stay housed, find meaningful employment, and connect with the support they've earned. From housing assistance and job training to case management and suicide prevention outreach, our team is here to help veterans build stable, independent lives. If you're a veteran in need of support, visit cvivet.org. Donations can also be accepted at cvivet.org/donate.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
In studio, the Milwaukee Public Schools Superintendent, Dr. Brenda Cassellius. Dr. Cassellius, welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm good, doing well, Sherwin. It's great to see you and to be here with all your listeners. And thank you to all the listeners for your support of Milwaukee Public Schools.
When you agreed to take the job, did they make you aware of how intensely political education is in this city?
Well, I've been at this for nearly 40 years now, and I think it's political in every city, especially when you have to make some hard decisions. I think what I didn't anticipate was just how much work we needed to do to fix many different aspects of the central office and the school district as a whole. And, obviously when the governor's stepping in and doing audits, you know that the district is in rough shape and there's a lot of work to be done.
You announced over 200 non-classroom positions, including central office staff, assistant principals, and implementer support teachers to address a $46 million budget deficit. That hasn't made you too popular with some folks, but can you give us some of the reasoning and rationale why you had to make those tough cuts?
Well, it's really one of the hardest decisions I've had to make in my career. I started signaling this when I first came last year because I had read the governor's audit. We had gotten the academic audit. I'd gotten some early drafts of that, and I knew that we had to do some repositioning. And so even last year, I started with about 30 positions that we closed out at central office, doing another 263 this year. I anticipate there may be some additional that come up when we create vacancies. I don't want to displace people out of their work and into other jobs throughout the district. That's always really hard to our school communities. So I understand the angst. I acknowledge the really difficult position that we're all in, and I respect and value our employees. We hope that we don't lose any of them. We hope they can be repositioned into the number of vacancies that we have within the district. And as you know, we are looking at rebalancing, in our schools from some of our schools that are have and have-nots. I think that this has kind of been an unspoken kind of open secret that we have some schools that get more resources than other schools within the district, particularly a highly segregated district like ours. And we're trying to do that rebalancing so that those schools who have not had resources before will see some additional resources, particularly in the 53206 neighborhood where we are doing 4 investment schools.
Dr. Cassellius, you don't operate in a vacuum. You have a board in which you are very much accountable to. The board approved the cuts. How is your relationship with this board? Because I want to get to the union and their reaction in a second. But how's your relationship with the board, which can be kind of tough sometimes?
Well, we're really lucky in Milwaukee Public Schools to have 9 public servants who give their time. I mean, it's almost volunteer. They get a small amount of money for the position, but certainly not enough for the hours that they put in. They have been incredibly dedicated and supportive of the work that they know has to get done. Now, we might not always agree on everything, but I certainly respect our board members, and I respect the hard decisions that they have to make as board members. And I'm proud to say that they are making some of the challenging and unpopular decisions that we have to make to be able to right the ship here in Milwaukee Public Schools.
From WUWM, some Milwaukee Public Schools teachers and staff came straight from school to rail against the district's plans to cut more than 200 jobs to deal with the budget deficit. More than 100 people gathered to protest the moves at the Washington Park Senior Center on Tuesday night. So if you have worked in conjunction, it seems collaboratively with the board, and there's some influence of board members and the union. They sometimes work together. That's the political part of education, one of the many political parts. I guess, what's your response to MTEA organizing an event, a town hall, or a rally, so to speak, to rail against the cuts that you and the board members agreed are necessary for more financial solvency?
Well, one, the cuts allow us to lower class size not just this year, but into the future. That's one, is the repositioning, and I think that's what's going to give our children a fighting chance to be able to learn to read on grade level, because teachers just have too many students in their classrooms to be able to do that effectively. 2, we were waiting on a state grant from the state Department of Education, where they provided us autonomy to be able to, and approvals to be able to use 100 positions in a grant-funded position we have around school improvement. So we believe that we're going to be able to get out some additional support that, nearly half of the folks who are in those current positions will be eligible to apply for those 100 positions that we'll have across the district that will work specifically on literacy instruction, and also help our students who are special education get the services that they need, and students who are bilingual. That's really critical to providing teachers that kind of support and providing principals that support. So, that 260 number, you had 264 number, had about 64 vacancies in that number. We had some retirements that happened, and so we're whittling down that number and really truly hope to keep all of our dedicated employees. As for the union's demonstrations and town halls, I appreciate the union's positioning of making sure that everybody is informed, making sure that they have their voices heard. That is their job. It is their job to fight for their members. And so I have respect for the union and the position that they play.
We have approved some funding increases for the district, which comes out in property tax increases for residents of the city of Milwaukee. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you, can we and should we expect another referendum?
I think I get asked this in almost every single interview.
Well, we're curious. We'd like to know.
I know, and I'm a straight shooter and have been a straight shooter. I think we need to close schools and merge schools. I have said that. I said that I thought that we would need to do cuts in the district. I am a person who is honest and is going to, cut right through the chase and be honest with everybody about where every single dollar is being spent in the district. I think that's important. Absolutely, we will be in a position in the future, particularly if the state does not fund us adequately. I mean, we're not the only one. You saw referendums across the state fail, some approved. And so school districts are having to make the really tough decisions to go out and ask their communities for more resources. I don't think, however, that we are going to be in a position to do that and get an affirmative yes. Get an affirmative yes on our referendum, unless we, in fact, do the things that the public is expecting us to do in writing our finances and ensuring that we have completed our audits on time, which we did. Over the past year, we were able to get our audits completed. We're on track and actually ahead of the game for next year's audit, so we know line by line where our funding is. And then also making the, really important decisions, even though they're very hard, to make sure that our dollars are getting as close as possible to our students and in the classrooms.
Speaking with Dr. Brenda Casellia, she is the superintendent of the Milwaukee Public Schools. Not too long ago, I did a story on the amount of surplus property the district has, and maintaining that property is a cost that most people may not see. Are you and or the board open to reducing or selling some of that surplus property? Because the district used to be very large. It's a lot smaller now. There's a lot of buildings that are unutilized or underutilized. Are you open to selling some of that property?
Well, I do think that I'm going to need to make recommendations to the board regarding this utilization of our buildings. It is costing us tremendous amount of dollars that could go right back into the classrooms and also provide additional teachers and staff to other schools, so it creates greater efficiencies in those schools so they can have more art, music, PE, and specialty classes. And by the way, on the referendum, that's what we promised we would do, and we came good on that promise, and we have additional art, music, and PE teachers next year as well. So, yes, I will be bringing forward some sort of recommendations. I don't know if that will be this year or next, because I want to make sure the community is involved in all of that. And that is always a very hard vote for the board. I don't know where they're at on that just yet. I know when the Perkins Eastman brought the recommendations last time, they were not open to that because all of the closures were recommended within the Black community, and that was not acceptable to me or to the board. So what we did instead was invest in those 4 schools. I'm hoping the community will see all of those wonderful investments come out for our open houses this summer and see the good construction that's going on and the promises we've made for art, music, and PE and specialty supports for students, and enroll their students in those 4 schools.
When I discuss education, and it's frequent, I frame it as, in one form or another, it is a workforce creation situation and also as a public safety issue, because if you look at a lot of the people that currently find themselves incarcerated, they have very low levels of education. And I can take a look at the reading scores, reading comprehension scores, and math scores of some of our students, with the African-American students being at the lower end of that scale, and say at some point these folks are going to be out of school and their job prospects and their possibilities of going on to higher education are greatly diminished, and the likelihood that they're going to spend some time offending and spending time behind bars increases greatly. Can you explain to the public the burden of those low test scores and what you and the board are planning to do to raise the test scores and academic performance for African American children in particular?
Well, I think the biggest thing I can share with families who have children, guardians who are watching over children, or aunties and uncles and just everybody, if you could help get students to school, we're going to do our job when they're in school. So we've got to improve our attendance. That will help us tremendously with our academic achievement. Then the second thing we're doing is we purchased high quality materials for our literacy, and making sure that our teachers understand those materials as we shift over to a phonics-based curriculum and the science of reading. Really, just how do our brains learn how to read? And we were teaching something called whole language before, and this is just a much more research-based method for teaching students to read. So that's part of it, giving teachers the professional development, making sure our principals are attending to it, and helping teachers and supporting teachers. Then when we can, if students are still behind, providing additional reading support, additional time during the day, and additional tutoring.
Depends on who you talk to in this city. They will tell you that it's the voucher program. The voucher program is a terrible thing, and it's gutting MPS, and we need to get rid of the voucher program. And if I project forward, there is a possibility that the voucher program could potentially get overturned. The parental choice program could be eliminated in the state of Wisconsin. Whether it happens or not, I don't know. Is the parental choice program the bane of the existence of the Milwaukee public school system? So if it was eliminated tomorrow, do you believe that the district would be in a better place?
Well, I was commissioner of education in Minnesota for 8 years, and leading policy at the highest level. And I'm on record. I've never been a supporter of vouchers. It doesn't mean that I want to take away parent choice, but I do believe that giving a voucher to private schools who aren't held accountable the way that school districts are held accountable is problematic. And so I've never been. As far as charter schools are, if it's a good charter, I think parents should have the choice to go to a good charter school. That's up to them. Those have always been my views. Any quality school for children is the parents' choice to take them. I just don't want it to be at the detriment of the traditional public schools and them having enough resources to serve what is, in Milwaukee public schools, some of our most vulnerable kids who are experiencing poverty. We have a higher concentration of students with disabilities and more complex disabilities with other health impairments as well, which is, we serve and we proudly serve children who have these disabilities, and then other groups of children, like children who are new to country, who are not yet speaking English proficiently, and so they need additional resources. So when we get students who come to us with more needs, we should give them more needs, not less. So I think that these kinds of programs make it challenging. Would it make Milwaukee Public Schools, would that solve all our problems? Absolutely not. We have been working on systemic issues within the district, working on our finances to make sure we get our finances right, make sure we get our staffing right, make sure teachers have the right support, and that our principals have everything that they need to support their school communities. That's the magic that happens, not blaming others. We take responsibility for our work, and we just do good work. People will see it, and they'll want to send their kids to our schools. And we have a lot of great schools. And let me just make sure I clear up. I am not bringing forward any recommendations to close schools for the upcoming school year. So I just want to make sure people know that.
Thank you for sharing that with us. So I talked about a situation yesterday, and it blew my mind. And even teachers called in to validate the point that I was making. Classroom disruptions and discipline. Now, of course, we get the numbers and we see the racial disparities, that black students are much more likely to be reprimanded and suspended and expelled, et cetera, et cetera. But now we're at a point where discipline issues and classroom disruption is taking up more time than actual instruction. how on earth do you handle that? Because some students are great. They're very well behaved. They come to school ready. They come to school ready to learn, and they're paying attention. And then you have other classrooms, please don't be offended by this, they're war zones for some of these teachers. And the teachers they're overwhelmed, right? How do you rectify that issue?
Well, it's a couple things. One, after COVID and the social isolation of our students, they just really have not fully recovered yet. There are some significant mental health issues to our students. Two, I think technology and the exposure that children have now to technology and violence is so much more than when we were younger. And I just think they have a harder time dealing with what they're exposed to. So having parents limit children's access to social media, to technology, to video games, that kind of thing is critically important. So I think that those are pieces that we as adults can do better in trying to make sure that we just let children be children, go outside, play, keep them busy with team activities, playing sports, getting them involved with family activities, et cetera, and making sure they have a strong mentor. Those are things that we can help. And then, attendance, like I said before. As for teachers, some teachers come really prepared with the right disposition to work with children who have some challenging home life or who have just challenging issues with regulating their own behavior. Maybe they didn't have any preschool or they started school late and they just didn't have opportunities to learn those ways of sitting and getting along with others and that sort of thing. So it takes a little bit of extra work. We've had a program in the district for over 20 years called Positive Behavior Intervention Systems, and that's like setting up routines, working with children, helping them understand good, healthy behaviors, how to work with their peers, how to share, take turns, be patient, those types of things. And sometimes children come and they are somewhat dysregulated. Sometimes we get parents who come to the school who also have had very difficult traumatic events in their life, and they'll go from 0 to 100, and we have to work also to try to explain and to work with them. And so we have parent coordinators in all of our schools, and they do a fantastic job of also supporting our parents and how to advocate with their children so that everybody can be heard, everybody can put the child at the center. But I can tell you, no matter what, I've never met a parent who does not love their child, who does not want to see them successful, and I've never met a teacher who also doesn't want to have the tools and the support in order to manage their classroom. Having smaller class sizes is going to be a way that really helps them give that personalized attention to every single student.
Speaking with Dr. Brenda Cassellius, she is the superintendent of the Milwaukee Public Schools. Dr. Cassellius, you have worked in school districts all across the country, and now you're here in Milwaukee. Thank you for being here, and also at the same time, I'm sorry. Can you name us 3 things that you think the district does well? It's very easy to lament on the things that aren't going so well. Compared to other districts you've worked at or seen, what is something that Milwaukee does well compared to other districts?
Well, the one thing that I love about Milwaukee, that it's not super unique because you do see a sense of community in other districts too, but there's just this heart here. People love Milwaukee. People have gone to Milwaukee Public Schools. They remember the mock chicken. They remember, all of the arts programming, the performances, the athletic teams. And there's a lot of pride in the schools. And they really want to see it get back to that place. They send their children here, their children's children, their grandchildren. And so there's been that. So I've really loved being part of the Milwaukee community and seeing the immense amount of pride. Actually, people introduce themselves and say, yes, I went to Riverside, or I'm a Bayview, graduate, or I went to Rufus King. People are just really proud of their schools, and they want to have that sense of pride back. Secondly, I think another thing that we do, this past weekend we had the National Montessori conference here, and it was wonderful. And our teachers got to showcase the incredible Montessori programs that we have here. We have wonderful international baccalaureate programs. We have not. One of the surprises too is we haven't gutted all of our career and tech labs up in our high schools. So we have these beautiful, comprehensive high schools with career tech labs, and we're upgrading those career tech tech labs for our high school students so that they can move right into careers and get certificated, and working with our college and university partners on that. So really excited about the high school work that we're doing. And then I would say that the third thing is that we just have incredibly dedicated teachers and educators, and I think that they just do an outstanding job. I think that they're taking on a tremendous amount, and they need just additional support. They need manageable classes. We need to have additional support in special ed, but we have terrific teachers here, and I really encourage all of the teachers out there who are new to teaching or are thinking about a change, come to Milwaukee Public Schools, because it truly is a great place to work. And at the school level, you have just an incredible sense of community.
Last question. Your single biggest challenge. You go into work every day like, I got to deal with this. What would you say? And I know there are many. What would you say is the challenge that takes precedent over the others?
Well, I would say over the past year, it has been our finances. That has been the number one challenge because the systems just were so broken. Our HR system didn't speak to our finance system. Our finance system didn't speak to the Department of Education system, the State Department of Education system. We've had to rebuild all of those systems. We've had to put in place new controls. We've had to finish all of our 3 audits. And then in January found out we had a $50 million deficit, or $46 million, and this is what has consumed almost all of my time. And the second piece that has really been is just to kind of rebrand and deploy and our human resources department as a customer service human resources department. And we have a new chief who's leading that department, and everybody has just stepped up, and our entire HR team has been tremendous over the past year, kind of rebuilding their systems, making sure we can be more responsive and manage any kind of employee complaints or concerns around culture and climate. And so obviously in a climate where you're cutting, it is a lot of noise. It's really hurtful and painful. And I'm hopeful that coming out of this, we can repair and rebuild Milwaukee Public Schools into a district that just everybody can be proud of.
Dr. Brenda Caselli, Superintendent of the Milwaukee Public Schools, thank you so much for being here, and I appreciate you answering all of my questions.
Thank you so much, Sherwin.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on April 28th.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes!
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness, third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Tune in April 28th at 6:40 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer, providing equal employment, development, and advancement opportunities to all teammates and applicants. To learn more about careers with us, please send an email to talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com. That's talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com.
Tap into the best power hour in radio in Milwaukee.
So altogether, you're looking at $1,780 for your mortgage and for your property taxes in a year. And that's before you have to deal with, obviously, your water bill and electric bill. That's a steep price that people have to pay. And based off those numbers I just ran, to afford a home like that, you got to make $65,000 a year. But the problem is, here in Milwaukee, the median household income is only $54,234. That's out of whack. So again, I am all about affordability. I'm all about people getting homes. But what we have to understand is that until homes are more affordable, you can have a supply and demand problem. But the problem that we have here in the city of Milwaukee is that these prices, when people are listing these houses, they're listing them for prices that people really can't afford. And even if you do get the house and you're paying that, you're living paycheck to paycheck. Home ownership is not about living paycheck to paycheck. Home ownership is about finding something that fits within your budget and building equity for the future.
Catch Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace every weekday from noon to 1 p.m. on 101.7 The Truth and The Truth app.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to help you. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, build a budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families in our community become homeowners, and many are paying a lot less than what they were paying for rent. Don't let where you are today stop your family's bright future. Start your journey at axhousing.org. That is ACTS housing.org. Your legacy begins at home. Also, please mark your calendars, ladies and gentlemen, for Friday, May 1st. That is 1 week from tomorrow. Need you to mark your calendars now. And I also need you to make sure that you are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes next Friday, May 1st, because we're giving away the Gruber $5,000. It's one of my favorite things to do. I make somebody rich. The stuff that people say they're going to buy with that money. Do you remember the last time we had a winner on my show? And I think it was Reggie. Reggie was like, I'm going to rent a car and drive to Kentucky. Why would you do that, Reggie? I can't wait. I'm going to rent a car and put a bunch of veterans in it. We're going to go to Louisville. Martin has been hanging on forever. Martin, I hope you didn't have a question for the superintendent, because I wasn't taking any calls during the interview. But you can ask me anything you want to.
Sherwin, you my man. I ride or die with you, okay? You know what the funny thing about it is? When the superintendent talked, I heard smoke and mirrors. Now, you remember Debbie Kiefer, right? You remember her?
Yes.
Debbie Kiefer?
Yo, I do. I interviewed her before.
I know you did. You're a great interviewer. That's why I love what you do and appreciate what you do. She said the curriculum was 15 years behind. So if something is 15 years, it cannot be current time. It's going to take you 15 years to catch up. The curriculum must be current time, okay? Now, she said that it was a broken system. The system was working just fine when my mother went to North Division in 1969. They had so many chemistry clubs, so many metal shops, so much this, so much that. They gave you hands-on experience to get your creative juices going, to keep you wondering, how can I be better? Now, why would a school board vote to remove the police out of the schools when safety is first, Sherwin?
No, they're back. No, Martin, I got good news for you. They're back in the schools, and it's a matter of state law. We have 25 required by state law. At least 25 Milwaukee police officers that have to be in the schools legally, so they're back.
Now, listen. Why would you take something out when safety is first? Listen to what I'm telling you, okay? That was intentionally done. So all the illegal stuff that goes on will run rapid, because every police that's not in the squad doesn't feel the same, okay? You got more good than more bad in the police agency, but the bad ones make a president. So what I'm trying to tell you is, for a corrupt board to do that, if those same members are still there working with her, it's going to be trash. Adrian Maddalini heads HR. She's trash. Teresa Scriberg is a director. She's trash. I know them. Okay? So if you create a failing system with failing kids that grow up to be failing parents, it's just going to keep going in a 360 loop because what you're putting out is not productive and not smart like the suburbs. So just think if Milwaukee put out everybody NPS, all those kids went to college and became CEOs, been successful, it would be a black way of life to run Milwaukee. You will put out productive citizens that will grow up to pay their taxes and do everything you need to do. And by doing that, you would dispel poverty. It would be poverty no more because all the thousands of kids and millions of kids you graduated through NPS will be successful. But that's the opposite of what they do. So when they robbed us for $250 million, Sherwin, and they only needed $27 million. Aisha Carr told me they only needed $27 million to satisfy the referendum. The criminals that work in NPS shot for $250 million, pulled at the heartstrings of the kids, Sherwin, and got $250 million. They only got $41 million to do. And you know how they partying in deals, Sherwin. They get down, top bottles for everybody. So what I'm telling you is this. The white construct that runs Milwaukee, even though we got a Crawley, even though we got a Baldy, MJ, they are still puppets for the construct, the white people that run Milwaukee. And why is John Chisholm's name still in the directory, Sherwin, when he's not the current DA?
You got a lot of questions, Martin.
I gotta go. Answer him, man. I didn't get in the car. Bye.
Oh, so this is what we're doing today?
Yeah, he's very angry. You would think you're the superintendent.
I know. Why are you blaming me? Like, that's not my fault. And I do it. It's very easy to look at just the output and the low levels of reading and math and be like, oh, the district is terrible. We need to, for a moment, some of the kids are unteachable. And their parents are unreachable. Like, we discount that. We make it seem like, oh, if we put all these programs in the schools like we had in 1969. That's the one pet peeve that I have, and I can have many. But the biggest one that I have is when people look at a nostalgic time, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago, and say, how come we can't have that stuff now? Nothing about the world is the same from 1969 to right now. Now, you also got to keep this in mind. The minority populations in the city of Milwaukee, and this is where race plays a heavy role, the minority populations in the city of Milwaukee were much smaller the further back in time you go in this city. As more and more African-American families and children came to the district, it was not a district that was designed to educate black children. And then we also had some other changes in education paradigms where they're focusing on testing. Also, whatever programs we had, Martin brought up, we had chemistry programs in 1969. The district was right-sized and set up for training young people to take advantage of the jobs at the time. The economy has changed 6 ways since Sunday, looking back in 1969 or 1979 or 1989. So whatever used to work worked only for that time, but you have to look at all of the other factors. Milwaukee was a hotbed for jobs and employment, so much so that it brought black people from other parts of the country to get jobs here. And so the education system is much more reflective of the times. I would say this. Yes, there's horrible performance at the district, but look at the behavior of the kids. Do you think that it's just like when people say, oh, we have all these terrible teen takeovers, and if we build more roller skating rinks and have more basketball programs, that the bad kids will no longer take over the parks and take over Bayshore Mall? Incorrect. You can put all of the best top-notch programs in the district, and the kids that want to participate in them will, but those are never the bad kids. We make it seem like if we just offer a bunch of stuff, which costs money, and you will pay for it, it'll rectify the behavior problems. I don't know if some of y'all appreciate the danger that exists in some of these classrooms. Yesterday, I talked about it for I don't know how long. Teachers now spend more time on disruption and discipline than they do teaching. So let's just say our children are behind when it comes to reading comprehension, and math. They're going to continue to be behind because the majority of the time that a teacher has in the classroom, they're spending it on discipline issues. kind of ironic what Martin said. He was angry that they took the police out of the schools. You guys know that we didn't want the public now, the community, did not want Milwaukee police officers in the schools because we didn't find it necessary as a public. Well, let me take that back. So few people vote for school board elections. Some of the complaints that we have fall on deaf ears because we can have all these things that we're very angry and very passionate about. When I look at how many votes it takes to get somebody elected to the school board, it's utterly ridiculous. You might have a school board district that's 54 or 55,000 people. Now, clearly, all of them are not voters, but out of a district of, let's say, 54 or 55,000 voters, 20,000 people are voters. School board elections in some of those districts turn out as 1,100 people. So you have the smallest number of people that are voting to elect who represents your community and your schools in your district. So we got to keep that in mind. And there are some candidates that would be fantastic school board representatives, but they won't run because they can't win because we don't vote for school board representation. So some years ago, the board voted on the advice of the community. We don't want cops in schools because we don't want the police interfering and arresting kids, which could be a discipline infraction that should be handled inside the school. Now, remember, this is prior to COVID. Behavior got worse, more severe, and bad behavior got more frequent after COVID. So before COVID, teachers, staff, administrators are like, you know what, we don't want the cops here. The community also agreed, so the cops were taken out. Because we moved as a community in the city of Milwaukee, especially in African-American majority schools, we wanted the police removed. The Republicans are like, oh, these liberal Democrats in Milwaukee are trying to defund the police. Now the police are legally required to be back in MPS. We wanted them gone because we didn't see any measurable improvements. We saw more arrests. We saw more kids getting tickets that they are never going to pay when we had the cops in the schools. And it was an unnecessary burden on the district because accommodating a police officer in a school is more headache than it's worth because it's only one cop. What's one cop going to do? It's 1,400 kids in the school. So we wanted them removed. That was a community choice. And the Republicans are like, oh, yeah, nice try. You want the cops out? Guess what we're going to do? We're going to put the cops in. And they held us hostage. They said that we're not going to allow Milwaukee to fund its pension obligation. Like, our city was facing bankruptcy. So the sales tax increase, while I disagreed with it, it was necessary. It also was many decades of failure for us to address our pension funding problem going back to when Tom Barrett was mayor, but that's neither here nor there. So we needed this money. We needed the state to help us or allow us to increase our sales taxes so we could fund our pension obligations. And then the state said, oh, by the way, we're going to let you get your money so the city of Milwaukee doesn't go bankrupt because all these pensions and all this deferred compensation for city employees. But you got to put the cops back in the schools. So they required us to put at least 25 police officers back in the MPS because the Republicans in Madison, members of the Wisconsin State Assembly and the State Senate, who do still have the majority, thought that by us wanting police more on the street than in the schools was our attempt at defunding the police. So now we're required to have them by state law. And the reasons why we wanted the cops removed in the first place, those reasons are quickly going to resurface, and it's not going to improve student behavior. Parents involving themselves in how their kids act is the only thing that's going to improve student behavior. Because these kids ain't listening to some 5'2" blonde-haired white public school teacher who's 24 years old. They're more likely to want to have sex with her than to take her discipline instructions. I'm going to take a break, come back. We're going to talk to Miss Nikki and somebody online, too. Who's that one guy? I wish he would just use his name. Why y'all gotta have stage names when you call the radio show? If you want to call in and use your real name, government name, or your stage name, the number is 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
In 1987, the Bucks took on the world and changed basketball forever.
At stake, basketball supremacy in the United States.
Bucks versus the World, narrated by Charlie Behrens, is the new season of Behind the Bucks podcast, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. It's the untold story of the 1987 McDonald's Open, when the Bucks became the first NBA team to face the Soviet Union. Listen now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Hi, this is Sherwin Hughes from 1017 The Truth, and I want to talk to you about something bigger than just buying a house. I'm talking about building a legacy. Owning a home isn't just about four walls and a roof. It's about giving your kids a place where memories are made, where birthdays are celebrated, and where they always belong. It's about planting roots, knowing your neighbors, waving from the porch, and being a part of a community that feels like family. If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to work with you. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, a budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying less than they were paying for rent. Don't let where you are today stop your families tomorrow. Start your journey at axehousing.org. That is ACTShousing.org. Your legacy begins at home.
Our children deserve a real chance to make it in life, and a good education is a passport to opportunity. At City Ford Collective, we're working to make sure there's a great Milwaukee school for every Milwaukee family, because more good options lead to better outcomes. And who doesn't want that? Together, we can give every child the foundation they need to thrive, and a stronger future for kids means a stronger future for Milwaukee. To learn more about our mission, visit us at cityfordcollective.org. That's cityfordcollective.org.
Still think you're going to use those old chemicals just sitting around under the sink, in the garage, or down in the basement? We're talking things like old antifreeze, paint thinners, batteries, propane cylinders, and pesticides. So don't let them sit there. Get rid of them right away to MMSD's Home Hazmat Drop-Off Centers. It's safe, it's easy, and it's open to all Milwaukee County residents. There are 3 locations open year-round. Let's clean up Milwaukee.
After a serious accident, you'll need a winning team to protect your rights. Trust Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices, proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
Prizes, exclusive experiences, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting truthcontests.com. That's truthcontests.com.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Let's talk to Miss Nikki. You're on 1017 The Truth. How are you?
I'm good, Sherwin. Good morning, and thank you so much for taking my call. And thank you for having an interview with the superintendent. I always look forward to when you're bringing individuals and interviewing them that has anything to do with education of the students. I still support the superintendent, but I did want to hear more. And I was a little disappointed in her response to the behaviors. And I'm so happy that you are really bringing to the forefront the issues that NPS have with behaviors, because I really do think, and I know for a fact that these behaviors are a lot, it's larger than what people think. But here's the thing, Sherwin, if I'm not mistaken, I was reviewing some data, and in NPS right now, a little over 50% of the students who attend NPS even live in the NPS school district actually attend NPS, right? So the enrollment has dropped tremendously. And with that being said, I'm wondering, right, if we're talking about a referendum being placed to go towards NPS, that money is not going to impact all of our kids, because NPS has an enrollment deficit at this time. So I'm hoping that this referendum does not pass, if one is put before, the community, because the money that we're throwing at NPS is not addressing the whole entire issue if we're still missing a large portion of our kids because they're not attending NPS.
That's right.
I would love to know how those how those students are doing in those other schools, or who those other schools are, so it must be non-NPS charter schools and choice schools, right? And how those kids are doing compared to where they were, what they were doing inside of NPS. So I think that's important for people to know and understand, because when we're talking about throwing some money at NPS, we're not talking about all our kids, because a lot of our kids are not even going to NPS anymore. But that also tells me that a lot of our parents are waking up. They're waking up. So, to what's happening at NPS and what's not happening. And what I heard the superintendent talk about as it relates to, the resources that they're bringing back, I don't know if that's going to be enough to attract those parents to come back to NPS. I honestly do believe those parents that have left will not return, and we're going to look at a larger group of parents probably pulling their kids out after this year because of the issues that has been consistent with the district. But I love what you said about this as it relates to the behaviors. And we do, and it's true, Sherwin, we have some unteachable kids, unfortunately, because of the behaviors, and we have some unreachable parents because they're just not involved. So I don't know how these things are going to be fixed, but to know that a lot of kids are no longer attending NPS, I'm going to always have to look at what NPS is asking for, right? And who is it going to benefit, especially if those children are not inside of NPS.
Thank you, Miss Nikki. Appreciate your call.
You're welcome.
All right. It's a weird cycle because as parents choose other options, and other options could be just moving out of Milwaukee altogether or putting their kids in a suburban public school or going to a parental choice school. Not all parental choice schools are bad. Very high-performing private schools allow children and families that can't afford the tuition to attend those schools. So let's get away from the perception that all quote-unquote voucher schools are bad. Thomas More, St. John Antietam, Divine Savior, Pius, Dominican, they all accept vouchers, and we wouldn't call those voucher schools. But here's the self-fulfilling prophecy for the district. The more parents take their kids out of the district, the less per pupil money the district gets, the more they need a referendum. So the fewer children attending NPS is going to lead to the district having to ask for more money because they get $15,000 per child. So if they lose 2 children, that's $30,000 gone. If they lose 20 children, that's $300,000 gone, so on and so forth. So the more parents that choose other schools, the more money the district is going to need because they're going to get less per pupil funding because there are less pupils. Let's talk to Andy. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. I just want to thank you for bringing up the pensions and the fact that how the legislature has kind of rigged the system, that these pensions, my parents have paid for it. They're deceased now. I'm paying for the pensions. My children, probably my children's children will be paying for these pensions. I believe the state of Milwaukee should have been allowed to go bankrupt and restructure those pensions because people shouldn't. It shouldn't. It's just too much. It's too much money, and it's ridiculous that generations are having to pay for these pensions. So the city should have gone bankrupt to reorganize the pensions, and so they wouldn't have to have raised our sales tax. My other question is, how do we get our shared revenue? If we got the money that we generate for the entire state, because my understanding is that Milwaukee is the winner. Milwaukee generates. Without Milwaukee, the state of Wisconsin would be bankrupt. It's not Madison. It's not Racine. It's Milwaukee. It's the moneymaker. And so, how do we get our shared revenue where we can do what we need, get our roads fixed, do what we need for MPS? But I think in MPS, too many people in central office are making too much money. And what are they doing? Because the budget for MPS is what, over $1 billion? Am I wrong?
That's
outrageous.
MPS budget is probably as big as the whole city of Milwaukee's budget. Yeah, it's big.
Exactly, and so the money is being squandered. It's being squandered. And so, no, I don't vote for any referendum. What are you doing with the money you have? What happened to the COVID money? What happened to the money that MPS got for COVID? Was $400 million or something? Where'd that money go? No answers. So how does please educate the viewers, the callers, the listeners, on the fact that Milwaukee, as much as the news, Milwaukee crime and this blackface and this blackmail, Milwaukee, you guys would be having outhouses. You would have nothing. Milwaukee's a moneymaker. Without Milwaukee, without us, you would be living out under a bridge.
Thank you, Andy.
First, so we deserve respect.
I want to address some of your questions.
How do we get our revenue back?
Okay, we'll talk about that after the break. Thank you, Andy. I got to take a commercial break, and we're going to answer some of them. Everybody got a lot of questions today. I love it. You got questions, 833-212-1017. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 3.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, join the Milwaukee County Office of Equity on Saturday, April 25th at 10 a.m. for the Story of Wealth exhibition at the Wisconsin Black Historical Society. Discover how policies have shaped financial opportunities in Milwaukee. Hear from a powerful panel, including Michelle Bryant, Claiborne Benson, Deborah Blanks, Kirk Harris, with keynote speaker James J.B. Bell. This event is free to attend, with food provided, door prizes, and great music. So make sure to get there early.
This is Sherwin Hughes from The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. And Truth Nation, you can now watch my show live on YouTube every day from 9 a.m. until noon. Yep, you can get 3 full hours of watching Sherwin doing his thing streaming live on YouTube Monday through Friday. You'll get the same insightful conversations about policy, politics, and lifestyle while also seeing my reaction to the unpredictability of our listeners. So go to YouTube right now and subscribe to 1017 The Truth and see this wonderful smile live every day.
70 million people in the U.S. have learning and thinking differences, like ADHD and dyslexia. Each has their own story. This is ours. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Then schoolwork became a struggle. Emotions got bigger, and my kids started falling behind. I felt alone, like I was lost in the dark trying to find answers. Then I learned about Understood.org, a nonprofit empowering parents and kids like us. It was like we had a light to show us the path ahead. Whenever new challenges came up, their guidance helped us figure out our next step. We still have tough days, but now we have direction. And I have the tools and resources I need to help my child thrive. No matter where you are on the path, Understood can help you keep moving forward. Visit understood.org/yourpath today.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Milwaukee's Black Talk lives here. You are listening to 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, the Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Let's go right back to the phones and talk to that one guy. You're on 1017 The Truth. How are you?
I'm all right. Thanks for taking my call, man. So my question to Brenda. So I used to mow these empty lots for NPS way back in the day, but they went through a company called.
All you do is cut grass. You cut everybody's grass.
I'm cutting grass right now, and I stopped to talk to you. So, anyways, I used to mow these giant fields that they owned, and they never used them. Some of these fields even had abandoned schools, beautiful architecture some of these old buildings had. It doesn't make sense to me why they just had them laying around. And I'm pretty sure it costs money to just, the property tax alone. And I'm pretty sure if, common sense would be, let's sell this old building and they can make it into like a high-end building because the architecture is beautiful in some of these buildings. Or in some of these lots, Sherwin, they can put a data center God forbid if they do. I'd rather have a giant liquor store than a data center.
So not big enough for a data center. And urban areas don't work for data centers. So that's not a possibility. The other thing is, who's going to buy those buildings? What business wants to buy a 200,000-300,000 square foot building that's going to need a whole bunch of updates, a whole bunch of improvements? Some of the buildings got lead in them, they got asbestos in them. What legitimately are we going to put there? That's number one. Number two.
Well, sure. We've seen this being done already with old buildings. People buy old buildings and revamp them over time.
They revamp them to turn them into housing or condos, but schools can oftentimes be retrofitted for housing. Here's the real reason why they don't sell those properties. So they got to maintain them, because and it does cost about $1.3 million a year just to maintain empty buildings, which I think is a waste of money. But you have to cut the grass, because otherwise it'll be an abandoned eyesore and it's going to welcome vandalism and crime and all the other kind of stuff. The logical thing to do would be there's other school operators, some are parental choice schools, some are charter schools, that will pay market value for a lot of these MPS buildings that are empty. The district won't sell those buildings to those schools, because if those schools perform higher than MPS, that means the district will be selling property to their competition, and more students will go to those schools than stay in MPS. And when MPS has competition and when they lose students, they need more money, because MPS gets its revenue from the number of students that it has. Here's the tricky part. Technically, the Milwaukee Common Council owns all of the MPS surplus property. So our aldermen and women can sell those buildings whenever they wanted to, but they oftentimes defer to the school district and to the school board. So what you're saying makes sense, but because it's so intensely political, we're just going to hang on to these buildings.
Yeah,
Some of these buildings have been vacant for 20 years.
Yeah. And one last question to you. Around 9:40 a.m. today, right after your break, you were playing a really good song. What song was that?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I guess I'll have to rewatch it then.
Yeah, go to YouTube and just replay it on YouTube and Shazam it. I don't know what I'll play.
You and Dr. Ken have good taste in music. You and Dr. Ken have good taste in music.
All right.
My Spotify is full of your playlist. Thank you.
You're welcome there, buddy. All right. Dr. Ken publishes his show playlist. I'm not putting in all that effort. I sometimes pick songs with 3 seconds left before I go back live after commercial ends. So I just got, how many playlists I got here? Oh, I can't count these. Probably 150. Each playlist with between 20 and 90 songs on them. I just grab stuff. Right now we're playing Blue Mist, my artificial intelligence jazz album. Man, do I love data centers, because without a data center, I wouldn't be able to give you hits like, oh, what's this one? What's this hit right here? Oh, Lindsay Heights. Oh, what about this one? Entitled Capitol Drive. Not to mention the namesake title, Blue Mist. Let's talk to Jason. Hi, Jason. How are you doing today?
What's happening, man? How you been?
Been all right. What's on your mind?
I haven't talked to you in a very long time, so first of all, I'd like to say my condolences, brother, for your father.
Thank you.
I haven't talked to you in maybe, I want to say, 13, 14 months. I'm the one that was calling from jail when you got the hotkey for 1 minute remaining.
Oh, it's you. Weren't you the one where you had like a woman would call us on three-way or something?
That was my girlfriend at the time.
You're
no,
out
I'm not
now.
driving her car anymore. I got my own car.
Now you can call with a regular cell phone. Now you're out.
I've been out for a while, though.
Welcome home, brother. Welcome home.
Absolutely. But while I was in, I listened to you every morning. I wanted to call in so bad, but I was like, nah,
you can't.
I'm going to wait till I can.
Because it was hard
to
call
I can.
In. Okay.
You see, I'll make it happen, brother.
Things going okay for you? You staying out of trouble, ain't you?
Absolutely. Got my own whip, got my own crib, started a business with a friend. I just literally got off the phone with my SCORE advisor. SCORE is Service Corps for retired executives with Small Business Administration. I just got off the phone with her and sent her a 60-page email of my business plan, trying to build something in, I'm thinking Northridge, where that open lot is. I've been listening to you a lot about that, the bed situation.
Oh, the Black Entertainment District.
Yeah, and then also, or Brookfield Square area, like a hub for the suburbs and the inner city to come to. But it's a long story, and I can't get into that on the phone right now. But it might help with some of what you've been talking about. But anyway, I called today because you're talking about MPS and funding and whatnot, and like, even before you were speaking on it, I knew a little bit about it, but you opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. And I've looked further. Why is the state government like taxing Milwaukee specifically? We have the highest sales tax rate in the state, but none of that funding comes back to the city. It goes to all these other small little areas to build them up where there's no black people whatsoever. I'm sorry, I'm just going to speak the truth. They take all our money, build up their little small cities, while we got potholes on every single block that you either got to swerve or you're going to lose an axle. And they complain about our schools like being bad, but you won't fund them.
Correct. You're absolutely correct. What's called shared revenue. So let's say if you look at all the people that live in the city of Milwaukee, all the people that come here and spend money, go out to dinner, get hotel rooms, rent cars, all the people that have houses and pay property taxes, we generate a tremendous amount of revenue. That revenue then goes to Madison. Madison creates the state budget. And it's like we get a tax refund because Milwaukee is sending a disproportionate amount of money and sales tax revenue to Madison, so they give us a portion of that money back. The reason why we don't get more back is because the legislature is controlled by Republicans. And over the last, decade or so, Republicans have been intoxicated by Trumpism. The Republicans in Madison hate Milwaukee. They hate everything about us. They hate that we vote for Democrats. They hate that we are a majority minority. Why would you think, we're going to be logical here and just keep it objective and simple, why do you think a Republican majority, and the legislature creates the budget, they decide who get what? There's some small Republican towns that got a 1,000% increase in shared revenue, while Milwaukee got 10%. That's not even enough to remove the snow from the roads in a moderately heavy snowfall. They are not going to give money to Milwaukee because the more money Milwaukee gets, the better we'll be able to invest it. The better we invest it, the more successful our people will be, the more people that will come to Milwaukee, increase our population, and vote for more Democrats. That's why we're not funded. The Republicans in Madison are not going to give us the money we deserve because they hate us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, they're going to be gone soon. No, they're going to lose the majority, and then when the Democrats come in, but I fear the Democrats might go too damn far.
Yeah. As an aside note, and still on topic, but it digresses just a hair. I was looking on Zillow just yesterday. Me and my business partner were looking into buying our first property and then building it up and then renting it out and going on to the next, like Barada did. Because I was listening all that winter months when everybody was tripping on Barada and you were talking about that. But when I was looking on Zillow, in the Greendale area where it cuts off for Milwaukee, there's a subdivision where it's mostly voucher homes. I'll put it like that, right? And there's a huge area of it. But the way that it's cut up, it takes away those numbers of people who would actually be in Greendale who are low income, who would then bring property values and whatnot down for Greendale. Instead, they butchered it in a way that you can't tell which block or side of the street you might be on, and you're either in Greendale or Milwaukee. I say that to say this is because now you can't get property tax values back to either or city in mass for the total numbers of people living there in this district. So then that disproportionately has a larger sum of Republicans in control, even in that area, than Democrats, because most of those people who live in that area will be Democrat paying their property taxes. And that correlates going back to our schools. Like, and these are nice homes. So it blows my mind, like the little things that you will see done that nobody is paying attention to, like a Zillow map and how it touches base with everything. It's pissing me off.
I know it is. Well, it sounds like you on top of it, Jason. Please keep us posted on the things you have going on in your developments, because you are an inspiration for a lot of brothers who are about to be released and who are recently released, who are out here lost. I think you can provide them a lot of motivation and direction. So thank you, and keep up the good work.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Oh, look at that. Thank you, Jason.
Yes, sir. All right. Y'all take it easy.
All right. Bye-bye. So when Jason first called us, going back well over a year, he would call just on topic, and he'd have a question or a comment. And then out of nowhere, we would hear 1 minute remaining. I was like, wait a minute. Jason, are you in jail? He's like, yeah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Like he said, he would listen to the program while he was incarcerated. He would call his girlfriend, his baby mama, he said. His baby mama would then call the radio station on three-way, because he could only make the one call, and then he would call her. And then she would call us. And then when I heard that recording, that 1 minute remaining, I was like, wait a minute. Jason, how did you call us from jail? And that's when the baby mama was like, hi, it's me. I was like, you've been listening the whole time, baby mama? Yeah, I had to call y'all on three-way. That's the down baby mama. She down.
Yeah, you don't find that kind of love anywhere, huh?
No, usually when you get locked up, they on to the next. They say there's a name for prison girlfriends. Wait, not that kind of prison girlfriend. I mean, when you have a girlfriend on the outside that stays down and stays loyal to you while I can't remember what it's called, but there's a term for it. So yeah, he's doing good. See, that puts a lot of these folks to shame, because they get out and, oh, Sherwin, there's nothing out here for me. I can't find nothing to do. Jason over here beating people with his professional success that people that have never been to jail have been able to achieve. So shout out to Jason, man. All right, now. I don't even want to look at some of the YouTube chat. I know y'all was going in on a superintendent. Here's the thing. She can't answer the questions in a way that would satisfy the answers that a lot of you want to hear. She has got to be accountable to the board. I'm going to give you this example real quick. Do you know how many damn superintendents we've had in Milwaukee, even since I've been broadcasting? So her press person was in here. You couldn't see him because he was off camera. Tony has been bringing, because I schedule superintendent visits with him, basically. I totally forgot that he even still worked for MPS. It's been so long, I figured he would have retired. So I think he might have brought, who was the superintendent before Darian Driver? Was it Bill Andrikopoulos? We're talking 10 years ago. Do you know how many damn superintendents that we've had in the last 10 years? So if the current superintendent says too much or says the wrong thing, not only will the board chastise her, they'll cancel her contract and fire her. So the kind of honesty that you all expect and deserve, and the directness, she can't speak that way. She is in very much a political position, which ties her hands. You ever want to have a conversation about what a superintendent can do and can't do, what they can say and what they can't say? Talk to Dr. Howard Fuller. He's like, sure, when I couldn't do anything. The changes that he wanted to make to improve, especially black children's performance, the board had to clear everything. So we had, I'm going to start with Darian Driver, Gregory Thornton. I can't remember his first name. Is it Jose? Jose Galvan was a superintendent. You had Keith Posley, who never spoke to me. I had requested to speak with Keith Posley even before we moved to the 3rd Street Market Hall. So I think he was superintendent probably 4 of the 5 years that 1017 The Truth has been around. I stopped asking after a while. I don't know what. And here's what's crazy. I remember seeing Superintendent Posley in our waiting room to go on another radio station. He went right next door to TMJ, but would never come on with me. Is this the same Andy calling back? Andy, you're going to have to hold on now. I know I cut her off, but she had a whole bunch of questions. Did I not answer them? Oh, the pensions. We're stuck paying for those. There was a way in which we could have lessened the blow on taxpayers. I'm trying to preempt you, Andy, a little bit because I may not have answered the pension question, but I've answered it 1,000,001 times before. If you join the Milwaukee Police Department at the age of 20, you can retire after 25 years. So you're retired at 45. You may live to be 90. Your pension is for life, meaning you worked and paid into your pension for 25 years, but once you retire, and if you live another 40 years, you're collecting pension for 15 more years than you put in, and the taxpayers have to supplement that. And the number of people that are living longer that work for the city of Milwaukee, and it's not just cops and firefighters, it's teachers, it's elected officials, it's government bureaucrats. And I think most of them have to work 30 years or 35 years or whatever your retirement age is because they'll set different retirement ages for different positions. And city employees make a lot of money. When I worked for the mayor, Tom Baer, during his first term, I got 2 raises every single year for no reason. I got a raise because it was the anniversary of my hire date, and then we got this thing called a step increase. So most positions, they max you out at $90,000 a year. So once you're maxed out, any kind of bureaucratic position, they'll give you a step increase until you hit $90,000. Then every year after that, you get a 2.1% cost of living increase until you retire. And so when you retire, you're going to get $60,000, $70,000 a year as an annual salary, plus they're going to cover your health insurance until the day that you die. Then you're also going to get Social Security, and we have to pay for all that. And you can't take a pension away from people. In fact, the Pabst Brewery, when they went bankrupt or broke or belly up, or the Pabst Brewery sold to some other brewery, they cut off the pensions for all of the surviving spouses, because if the person who has the pension dies and you got a wife, the wife still gets the pension. So a cop could have worked for 25 years, right? He retires at 45. He dies at 50. But his spouse is going to live to be 110. We're going to pay that spouse that pension until the day that spouse dies. So this is a long-term financial commitment for the taxpayers, but this is one of the things you have to do, one of the incentives to get people to work in city government, because otherwise y'all wouldn't do it. Because the private sector is going to pay you more. So what the city and what governments do is like, okay, we can't pay you a whole bunch of money, but we're going to pension you to death. You're going to get all the pensions. I know a cop that shot somebody, not lying, hand to the sky. He shot somebody. It was so traumatizing. No, he didn't shoot him. Somebody died in their custody. He didn't shoot him. It was so traumatizing for the cop that the cop got what's called duty disability. So he had not worked for his 25 years, but because it was so traumatizing that it was the cop's fault, but it was so traumatizing that somebody died in that cop's custody, he filed for duty disability. This cop now gets $50,000 a year for the rest of his life, plus his health insurance, and never has to work another day as a Milwaukee police officer ever again. So guess what he does now? He went back to school for plumbing, and he's a wedding DJ. What? Ain't that crazy? Somebody dies in his custody. He's like, oh, it's too stressful. Okay, we're going to give you duty disability. Here you go. Thank you for serving with the Milwaukee Police Department. Here's what your salary is going to be forever. $50,000. We're going to cover your health insurance. He was like, yippee, I think I'm going to go to school to be a plumber and also DJ weddings. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Milwaukee Black Talk.
You don't want to be there. You don't like the work. You don't like the people. Now, there are some differences. The only difference is modern American slavery and capitalism versus 19th century. We were dramatically more primitive back then. And a slave that is able to buy their freedom is the same as the disaffected, disgruntled worker that is able to buy their way into entrepreneurship, because that for them is free.
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
At At UW Credit Union, we have best-in-class technology and peopleology. Like if you lose your card, you can stop by in-branch for a same-day replacement, or you can have a new one instantly issued to the app. So whether you prefer interacting with our snappy online interface or our in-person regular faces, UW Credit Union is always here for every you. And whichever you choose, it's the best of both worlds. Join today at uwcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance, because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
When you've been injured, you need a winning team on your side. Gruber Law Offices will fight for the results you deserve. Call Gruber Law Offices today, a proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Join me every Friday at 11 a.m. for the Milwaukee Experience with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee. This is a city that knows how to celebrate, where the calendar is packed with festivals and the plates are piled high with flavor. And lakefront sunrises set the stage for unforgettable days. See, here in Milwaukee, every street leads to something worth savoring. It's a place that welcomes you with open arms, and joy is shared through delicious food, music from our incredible talent, and cheers for our favorite sports teams. The Milwaukee Experience, that's every Friday at 11 a.m. exclusively on 1017 The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee. So one of my favorite local-ish kind of soul singers, I'm going to have her name is Clarissa, and I play her music frequently on the program. I'm going to have her in studio next Friday. So next week, Friday's Milwaukee Experience. That's also when we're giving away the Gruber $5,000 on this show, so make sure you tune in next Friday and every single day. Hello, Andy. You're calling back for some more. You couldn't get enough, huh?
Well, no, because it's Milwaukee is, the plantation, where these Republicans pimp us out, and they collect all the money. So the pensions, what you described, your illustration was, I think, different from the pension scandal. That's what I was referring to.
What
the pension scandal where people should have went to jail. Amen.
Andy, that was damn near 30 years ago.
I know that. I remember.
Okay.
I remember. And so my point, those pensions, Milwaukee should have went into bankruptcy and restructured those pensions, because 3 or 4 generations of people should not be paying for your pension.
Andy, that pension scandal is different than the pensions that we are paying that caused us to have to raise our sales tax to pay our current pension obligations. So that pension scandal was, people didn't like that the county invested county employees' pension money privately, and they had huge retirement savings. Nothing illegal was about it. But we didn't like the fact that those elected officials were retired. I think Tom Amon retired making like $10,000 a month. And people just got mad at the fact that the county actually managed the retirement funds of its employees really, really well. The only reason why we had a pension scandal is because if you're making $30,000 a year and you come to find out that your county board supervisor is retiring making $70,000, we just got mad at that. But they didn't do anything illegal.
Well, again, is it logical? Is it reasonable?
Yeah.
Is it right for 4 or 5 generations to be paid for that? No, it's not.
We're not paying for those. That was not taxpayer money. That money was invested privately. Now, if you're talking about these pensions right now, yes, these pensions We are paying for it. But the county pension scandal that was in 2001, which led to Scott Walker getting elected county executive in 2002, that's long been rectified. But they didn't do anything illegal. Just the public got mad that their county servants were making a lot of money in retirement. That's all it was. Hurt feelings.
Well, I'm furious that generations have paid for these pensions. That's illogical. It's not right. That's not right. You know, and like the previous caller said, and you can't drive in the streets without ruining your car. These they're not potholes; they're craters. Like I need a lunar vehicle to drive in the streets. They're like 5-6 inches deep.
The city doesn't have enough. I want to explain it to you because I know it's frustrating. I'm frustrated by it too. So there's this thing called infrastructure, which the federal government and its Department of Transportation, because they get a whole bunch of money in tax revenue too. What the federal government does is they say, hey, Wisconsin, do you need some help with your roads and your bridges? Because that's a part of infrastructure. And the federal Department of Transportation funds infrastructure. Trump is president and Wisconsin is a red state. So the money that we need, we simply are not going to get because Donald Trump has cut all the people, all the positions, and all the money that would help us get the resources we need to pave our roads. So you can't just blame the city because all the city can do is just raise your taxes again, which you're going to be very angry at, and then use that money to pave the roads when this money is supposed to come from the federal government because last time I checked, we all pay federal income taxes. So we got to place the anger where it needs to be. Can't just blame the city and blame the Republicans here. There's a national Republican problem that we have, and you're starting to feel it, and that is why we got to motivate more people to vote for Democrats.
I understand that, but the Democrats aren't any better, really. They just
no, they're going to be a lot better. They don't like to have sex with children nearly as much. It's a big difference.
Okay. Well, again, the generation should have to pay for these pensions. There's nothing that we can do about the shared revenue because the money we generate, our roads could be like gold.
We need a Democratic legislature. The shared revenue is going to come. We just have to change the makeup of the legislature, and that's coming.
That's the only way. We can't strike or boycott. There's no other way.
You can strike all you want to. I'd love it if you boycott it. Let me know when and where. I'd be out there with you. I know it's frustrating,
last point,
but people don't get politically activated until they're getting screwed, and then they're wondering, oh, my God, what happened? Apathy, not talking to your neighbors, not engaging people, not encouraging more people to register to vote. Us that have this frustration are not doing our work at educating the voters and the votes that we need to prevent stuff like this from happening. This is the result. So we got to take some blame, too.
Well, but the system is Milwaukee, like MPS, is not designed to succeed. The superintendent makes $320,000 a year, plus I think another $80,000. She makes more money than the president of the United States for a failing school system with a $1.6 billion budget. Does that make sense?
It's not based on performance.
That doesn't make any sense.
All right, okay.
It doesn't make sense.
Who's your school board director, Andy?
I don't know.
Exactly. That's why the superintendent makes $300,000 a year. You just answered your own question. You can't be this angry about the system being designed to fail, and you don't even know who is representing you on the school board. So I'm assuming that you probably don't vote for school board either, right?
Yes, I do.
You just don't know who you voted for.
I did at the time. Sorry, right now I can't remember. I can't recall.
All right. Well, then you wouldn't know who to call to complain to. All right, that's fine.
I would figure it out. I would figure it out.
Well, I'd rather you figure that out than calling me. We appreciate your call. Don't get me wrong, because this is a teachable moment. But I think your complaints, to me, they're reasonable, they're rational, but I can't fix it. I can just provide a platform where people can share their sentiments. You know what I mean? And
I'm not asking you to fix it, sir. I'm thanking you for alerting the public about the shared revenue. I want people to know that Milwaukee is a moneymaker. Diamond of the state. Without the diamond, you'd be desolate.
Andy, do you know that I got to make something real clear? This is what we're missing. We have a Republican-controlled legislature that is not going to give a majority-minority city the money that it needs to be successful because we vote for Democrats here. That's where that comes from. So we can be angry about the shared revenue. This is called the consequences of voting for Republicans. But, Andy, I got to go because I got guests waiting.
Thank you.
All right, then.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Andy. Andy just called in hot today.
Very spirited.
I like that. But then when I ask somebody, and why does the superintendent? First of all, you need to pay somebody that kind of money to be superintendent of this district. Ain't nobody doing this for chump change. And complaining about the pensions, who do you think benefits from us having public service. By us having cops and firefighters and teachers and government employees and people in the Department of Neighborhood Services and the people that pick up our garbage, they benefit us. They pick up our garbage. They plow our snow. Of course we're going to pay for their pensions. Because if we didn't offer them those pensions, there would be nobody who would want to be a damn sanitation worker. So you have to have some kind of carrot and a stick. And typically the public is okay with paying great pensions to people that are public servants. The problem is everybody's living longer because, they're getting vaccinated. Today is Arless Jones Day in the city of Milwaukee. And in studio after my commercial break, we're going to have Cynthia Wilson and our very good friend, the owner and proprietor of Mr. B's, Mr. Craig Berry, talking about an Arless Jones Day taking place tonight at Mr. B's. So go on out to Mr. B's and drink tequila or whatever you blacks drink. Hennessy. Drink Incredible Hulks. And drink Alizé. And Cisco and St. Ides. And Old English 800 malt liquor. And Colt 45. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back with our guests.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on April 28th.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes.
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness. Third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Tune in April 28th at 6:40 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee or check your local listings to watch the game.
Walk in for a suit, walk out with two. It's buy one, get one half off throughout April at Nick Avani's. Suits, blazers, hats, jeans, and more. Everything you need from a hands-on team that styles you from head to toe. Find a suit, add shoes for half the price. Land the perfect two-piece set? Now add a vest for 50% less. Prom, weddings, galas, whatever's on your calendar, now's the time to stop in to Nick Avani's. Second floor at Mayfair Mall across from AMC. Buy one, get one half off throughout April at Nick Avani's. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details.
Breaking down the issues that shape our city and our future.
If oil gets to $90 a barrel, I'll be able to pay off my house. I think war is awful. It's terrible. It doesn't resolve things. It creates long-lasting hatred and even more conflict that the American people are always going to find themselves involved in.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 to noon.
But if I don't have a mortgage, you know what I mean? You take the good with the bad. Didn't Donald Trump say he was going to end the wars? You can't have America first if you're involved in all these foreign wars. And there's people that believed him when he said that. He doesn't like wars. He said it many times. Said it on the campaign trail.
Catch it live on YouTube or tune in to 1017 The Truth.
He's bombed just as much in his first year as any warmongering hawk president we've ever seen since World War II.
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. You might miss someone who has valuable skills to offer to help your business thrive right now and in the future. Because the truth is this: Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. When you let their story unfold, you gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person, complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I just love jazzy music. I got a couple of jazzy individuals in the studio right now. I got Mr. Craig Berry, who everybody knows. Craig Berry, welcome back to the program. Craig, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for thanking me. Thank you.
And also we have
Cynthia Wilson.
Hi, Cynthia Wilson, who I was going to introduce. People that may not know you because you are the curator of Stepping with the Stars.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't never asked me to step.
I'm going to get you next year. And don't
Trust
say
me,
no.
Sherwin, she's going to call you out. She's going to call you out.
No, hold on. No. I've been a star a long time now. What you mean next year? I may not be available.
What else do you have to do besides dancing Stepping with the Stars? That's the most popular event in the city of Milwaukee right now.
I know it is. And thank you for doing it. You raise a lot of great money for a lot of great causes. But we're here to talk about Arless Jones Day, and there's an event taking place at Mr. B's this evening. Doors open at 5:30. Cynthia, do you want to give us some details about the Arless Jones Day celebration at Mr. B's?
Okay, Arless Jones Day, the mayor declared April 23rd in 2017 Arless Jones Day. He passed April 25th, 2017, 2 days after that. So this is my way of keeping Arless' memory alive. Arless done a lot of great things as far as entertainment in the city of Milwaukee with the nightlife, and he helped a lot of people get started. Craig was one of his guys that he mentored. So this is my way of keeping his memory alive.
Which one of you can jog our memory and remind some of our listeners some of the places that Arless has opened and operated for, a generation or more in the city of Milwaukee?
Mr. J's on Center Street. ARJ's on 31st and Villard. He owned Marty's at one time. He owned Savoy's, Alexandra, Simmons.
Oh, Simmons.
Simmons, memories.
Yikes.
Yes. Blue and Frosty. He had a number of bars.
Craig, would you say that Arless laid and left a blueprint for how you curate nightlife that caters to the African American community?
Anybody that knows me know how I feel about the people that paved the way for me, such as Arless, Sonny, Gene, Mac. Mac is still in the game over there at Peoples. I always pay homage to those who made it easy for guys like me to do what I do. I mean, we crown. You asked me before we went on the air, the king of clubs is Arless. Oh, absolutely. He's been a king of club when he was living. He was the king of clubs just because of his track record and his accomplishments. He's done a lot.
It's almost like an art form because the way you have to manage an African-American culturally centered nightlife establishment, a little bit different than how you would manage something maybe on Milwaukee Street or on Water Street. And it's almost, I'd call it an art form because so many things can go wrong at any moment in time. But you guys have found this incredible balance. What would you say the secret to Mr. B's is, if you care to share it? Then we're going to get to the details of the celebration tonight. So let's say Sherwin want to start a nightclub. Bad idea, by the way. What would you tell me as someone who is a novice, no experience bar nightclub owner in the city of Milwaukee?
Stick to your day job.
Thank you. I plan to. Because it's not easy work.
You have to understand, this is why I commend people like Arless, because he was a professional club owner. He wasn't a part-time. It wasn't a hobby to him. That was his way of living. And it's sort of like for me, I do this full-time, and I've been doing it full-time for a number of years. But to answer your question, it has to be in you, because running a nightclub, bar, first of all, it's a third shift job. Contrary to what people may believe, we don't walk out the doors until sometime 5 a.m., even though our bars may close at 1 or 2. But you have to understand your crowd you're dealing with. You have to be able to communicate with the people. You have to be liked, in so many words. So it's not easy. You have to understand, the political climate.
Because you got to get a license. You got to go in front of the Common Council, and if one of them doesn't like you, it can make your life difficult.
Tell me about it.
Speaking of telling people about things, well, let's talk about the event tonight. Doors open at 5:30.
5:30. I mean, we're doing food. We got Christmas project. I mean, Cynthia, I commend her all the time for keeping his legacy alive. And his son, Derek, he and I are great friends, school together. But I really do it just to celebrate Arless because he should be celebrated in this. It's Arless Jones Day. He should have had it when he was alive. A street named after him or whatever proclamation you want to give him because he truly earned it. But tonight we're really going to celebrate this legend, and I really ask that Milwaukee come out and support. It's free to get in, and of course they're getting my food. I'm doing most of the cooking, so you know it's going to be good, Sherwin. So those that know who Arless is and appreciate what he's done, I just ask that you guys come out and show support.
One of our YouTube listeners, Reginald, said that Arless gave him a job painting the exterior of the former Terrans. Did he own Terrans?
It was Savoy's. He owned it. I think, did he name it Savoy's? I think
he named it Savoy's.
Yes. That's another cultural institution. That's right.
Yes, Orlando and them took that over, and they're doing a great job.
Cynthia, tell us about some of the stuff that you have going on. Of course, you were helping to promote the event tonight, the Arless Jones official celebration at Mr. B's, located at 8617 West Brown Deer Road. And yes, you do have good food there, Craig.
Sure, you would know.
Look, I came there just to hang out one night, and I ate before I came. Sure. I wasn't even hungry.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, but you don't put chicken wings in front of somebody, and that's not fair.
I tell you, he came by me one day.
Why you got to embarrass?
Hey, man, you got to try our wings. Oh, no, man, I just ate it. So I whispered to the server. I said, hey, bring us a platter of wings, all flavors. And next thing I know, there's bones flying everywhere. I said, Sherwin, I thought you said you ate already. He said, you should have warned me that they were this good.
I was doing research, Craig.
Sure you were, Sherwin.
Everybody come on out to Mr. B's tonight at 5:30, celebrating Arless Jones Day. Cynthia, what you got going on? Tell us about some of the things you're involved in.
Okay, we have First Friday every month at 100 Gems. It starts at 7 o'clock, 7 to midnight. This month is Kentucky Derby thing. So stop through there, have a good time. And then May the 30th, we have Stepping with the Stars at Potawatomi. So that's going to be a really good event. We have a lot of local celebrities that's doing a good job. So Sherman's going to dance next year.
I got to check my schedule.
Sherwin, you should at least go check the event out. It is huge. I'm not a stepper because I got 2 left feet, but Cynthia and them has done, I think that's one of Milwaukee's best kept secrets is that Stepping with the Stars event because the spirit of it is to raise money for those that are in need, and it has been a home run. Trust me when I tell you this, you would be proud to even know Cynthia for doing something like that because it's an asset to the community.
Who's my partner going to be? Do I pick my partner or will you give me a partner? Because whoever my partner is, they got to teach me.
They will. We'll get you started, and then we'll turn you over to your partner. So we'll work with you for like 2 months. And then your partner comes in, just like the show Stepping with the Stars.
Cynthia, this is a commitment.
Right.
I'm not good with those. But okay, fine. We got time for us to figure it out tonight.
Also, I do I do a toy drive in memory of Margaret Bedford. She worked with Arless. She was his right-hand person. That's why Arless was so successful. He always said he had good people who was working for him. He had 3 good women who held his back up. Margaret, Carol, what's that other lady?
And Cynthia.
I came later on. I can't take the credit for it.
Who was that was working the door that was just...
Margaret.
Margaret, she did not play no game.
A woman doorman?
Yes.
And she did not play, bro. Everybody respected her because they knew what she was about, and she was one of the keys in this business. I tell people this: that your door person sets the tone for what you're gonna have, and people underestimate the importance of the door person, whether it be the security guard or the person checking IDs or the admissions person. That's the key.
Craig Berry, the proprietor of Mr. B's, Cynthia Wilson, Queen of the Universe, and promoting all sorts of wonderful events, including Stepping with the Stars, where apparently I'm going to be there next year. We are commemorating Arless Jones Day, the official celebration taking place tonight at Mr. B's. There is no charge. Doors open at 5:30 and live performances by Christopher's Project. Sounds by DJ Kel C and DJ Mr. Rhythm 8617 West Brown Deer Road. Craig, thank you. And thank you for hosting. You're the only multiple Beyond the Mic host we've had, because most of our other hosts are scared of us.
Yes, it's time to do that again.
Should we do it again?
You should. But I'm going to tell you, let me do this little shameless plug. You know, we do the Blues Festival every year.
Yep.
In the parking lot of Mr. B's, the Granville Blues Festival. And this year, we have, it's July 18th, 19th, then the following week is the 25th and 26th. This year, our headliners are Terry Wright, which is a blues singer, Vic Allen. And on the R&B side, we have Kelly Price. She's coming to Milwaukee, y'all. She's going to perform in our parking lot. It's going to be huge, brother. And we got R&B Live, hosted by Lena Cole. You know about R&B Live.
It's like 1,100 people a week.
Easy. I think last year we had like 6,000 over the whole weekend.
Wow.
It's huge. And it's free.
Your happy hour. Plug the happy hour real quick.
Oh, every Friday, 5 to 10. Cigarette break. The best band in Milwaukee. Pull up. It's free. And free parking. You know, with our community, you got to emphasize free.
Yes. They all want something for nothing.
Done, everybody.
And they sit there and complain. Where can you go and get free entertainment? Food, good food. Their wings are better than else's to me. So keep our black dollars black.
Cynthia, Craig, thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate it. And good luck tonight. You're going to have a big old crowd tonight.
Thank you, Sherwin.
Absolutely.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Need a way to hype up your day?
Hello, is this Shirley?
This is she.
Shirley, you are our Gruber 5K giveaway winner this quarter. Congratulations.
What would you do with $5,000?
Going to look at buying me a pickup truck. That will be some of my down payment.
Stay tuned into 101.7 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
I love you guys.
I got money now.
Hi, this is Sherwin Hughes from 101.7 The Truth, and I want to talk to you about something bigger than just buying a house. I'm talking about building a legacy. Owning a home isn't just about four walls and a roof. It's about giving your kids a place where memories are made, where birthdays are celebrated, and where they always belong. It's about planting roots, knowing your neighbors, waving from the porch, and being a part of a community that feels like family. If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to work with you. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, a budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying less than they were paying for rent. Don't let where you are today stop your families tomorrow. Start your journey at axehousing.org. That is ACTShousing.org. Your legacy begins at home.
Still think you're going to use those old chemicals just sitting around under the sink, in the garage, or down in the basement? We're talking things like old antifreeze, paint thinners, batteries, propane cylinders, and pesticides. So don't let them sit there. Get rid of them right away. To MMSD's Home Hazmat Drop-Off Centers. It's safe, it's easy, and it's open to all Milwaukee County residents. There are 3 locations open year-round. Let's clean up Milwaukee.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
I'm Sherwin Hughes, and I know the power of Stars and Stripes Honor Flight firsthand. As someone who's been on an honor flight, I can tell you it's a day you'll never forget. Stars and Stripes Honor Flight gives our oldest veterans who served in any location in June of 1975 or earlier a free one-day trip to Washington, D.C. for veterans. Airfare, meals, a coach bus tour, and special flight apparel are all included. It's a day of honor, gratitude, and camaraderie. Veterans who served in the Vietnam or Korean War go to flysshf.org and ask for an application.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Every time I play one of these AI-generated songs from my debut smooth jazz album, Blue Mist, available everywhere, a new data center gets its wings. Don't shake your head, X. As much internet as you use? Hey, Sherwin, did you know that Israel exports all the concrete to Russia? Hey, Sherwin, did you know that so-and-so and so-and-so CEO is a sexual crimes predator? You be knowing all the internet stuff, X, so you be using data centers too now.
I'm well informed, but...
Well, that's what you want to call it, all right?
Yeah, I know...
you know all the things?
Yeah.
You know what I found out? And I bet you didn't know this one. So we have fluoride in our drinking water, and whether you think fluoride is a neurotoxin or not, it's in our drinking water because some of y'all don't go to the dentist, which is beyond me. Of all the medical appointments that I may have to go through, stress tests, colonoscopies, annual checkups, all the things, I actually like going to the dentist. I sit in that chair and I fall asleep. And Mr. Hughes, can you wake? Because when you fall asleep, your mouth closes. Mr. Hughes, I'll be laying in that chair, and you ever sometimes catch yourself snoring?
I do that all the time at the barber.
Be laying down, all of a sudden, you just get to, it's just comfortable. Even though they're working, they're digging all in your mouth. I'll be laying in that chair. Now, dentist's office had a little flat screen TV in front of you, so you can watch like Mike and Molly or whatever they're playing on the dentist TV. I'll be laying in that chair. I get to feeling all comfortable. And next thing you know, and you wake up, hey, what happened? Where am I? Who? You ever wake yourself up with a snore and be ready to fight? Hey, where are my pants?
I'm very happy. I'm not very angry.
So the fluoride that we put in our drinking water, guess where we get it from? Israel. Oh, yeah. So I think my colleague Tori Lowe, who a lot of y'all have comments on. First of all, the number of comments that I get, oh, Sherwin, are you listening to Tori right now? I don't listen to any of my colleagues' shows. I may put on Bailey and Homer or Homer and Dame in the morning when I'm driving in to see what the tone is of the day. But I don't want to be heavily influenced by what my colleagues are talking about. We have a tremendous amount of respect for our own specific platforms. And I try my level best to not insert myself in the business or the topics of my colleagues because we do have some audience overlap. But Dr. Ken, when he's doing his show, he's talking to Dr. Ken listeners. When Tori does his show, he's talking to Tori Lowe and Liz Brown listeners. When Kyle Wallace does his show, he's talking to Kyle Wallace people. When Homer and Dame or Homer and Bailey are doing their show, they're talking to their people. Just like former presidents, not that we're presidents, but they don't weigh in on the current president because they just let them do their thing. So but I know that Tory, I hope I'm not getting this wrong, I think he was very much against fluoride in drinking water. And now I don't know how I feel about it. I do know that if we don't, it's a really, really super small amount. But if it wasn't for the fluoride that we have in our drinking water, and it's not just here, it's all over the country, tooth decay would be more rampant than it actually is. But then when I found out that we get it from Israel, because apparently Israel is going to now, RFK Jr. came out with this, because Israel is now going to start exporting less fluoride to the United States. Some cities are going to eliminate it completely from their drinking water. But because RFK is involved, he was almost like celebrating it. Well, we're not going to get the fluoride from Israel anymore. So some cities are going to see a complete elimination of fluoride in the water. Oh, here we go, X. What do you got?
Well, fluoride it calcifies our pineal gland, which is our third eye.
Third eye? All I know about is a third leg.
Well, you know, your third eye helps us with our imagination, our spirituality, and stuff like that, you know?
All right. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
All right, then. What did we learn today? Today is Arless Jones Day in the city of Milwaukee, and tonight at Mr. B's Lounge, 8617, they are commemorating and celebrating Arless Jones Day. Christopher Project is providing the sounds. They've got incredible food. They've got free parking, and there is no cover charge, free to get in. We learned that Brenda Caselius has got a very, very tough job. And we also learned that there are, in fact, sentencing disparities when minorities kill one another versus when minorities kill someone who is majority. Thank you for listening. I'll see you tomorrow.
Truth Nation, join the Milwaukee County Office of Equity on Saturday, April 25th at 10 a.m. for the Story of Wealth exhibition at the Wisconsin Black Historical Society. Discover how policies have shaped financial opportunities in Milwaukee. Hear from a powerful panel, including Michelle Bryant, Claiborne Benson, Deborah Blanks, Kirk Harris, with keynote speaker James J.B. Bell.